Yes, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome back to Football Heritage TV. It's only been about 12 hours since we last met, and we're here again, and we're discussing Tottenham Hotspur. Yay to us, yay. I'm joined by Lubo, crazy Lubo, who decided that he's going to get a coach to Liverpool. Then he's going to get home at 4 a.m. Lubo, how are you, mate? Worth the trip?
A little tired. Wonderful trip. What a trip.
You're a better man than me.
What a trip.
You're a better man than me.
I must tell you something. We're on our way to Anfield,
right.
And we're driving down the M62. And the ETA is getting later and later and later. So the guy misses 3 turn-offs, the coach driver, because I don't know what sat nav he was on. Johnny was on Waze, and he's leaning across because I was sat on the other side of the aisle to him and his son, and Johnny's leaning across going, he's missed another turn off and another turn off. That's 3 he's missed. So the guy's turned off on the 4th, and he's gone down, and he's got to stop because it's a high coach and it's a low bridge. So he reverses back and he swings round this long winding road that overlooks the motorway. So there's no way to do a 3-point turn. And lo and behold, half a mile down the road, there's another low bridge, and it's 7 o'clock, and they are going mental on the coach, all the guys, because you're looking at it thinking, hang on, we left North London at 1:10, and it's 7 o'clock, and you look down the M62, and it's traffic all the way down to the big roundabout where you turn right towards and into Liverpool. Yeah. So me and this other guy we got off the coach. The other guy ran up the road and stopped cars and held cars up. I got off, and I was getting the guy I was seeing the guy back. Guy had to reverse back half a mile. It was absolutely mad. And we ended up, I mean, where his sat nav was going, God knows. We ended up blocked off because we were right outside the cop at 7:45. So I just said to the guy, you got to wait. The police, I'm sure, will wait till kick-off, and then they'll direct you around the ground. And it was literally 30. It was sort of 60 second. It was a 60-second walk after the match to get back on the coach. So, and I had to ring that one. That one sent me a location because he got it from the guy that was in touch with the driver. We all got off the coach, all ran off the coach, not knowing where the coach was gonna be when we came out after the match. So it was absolute chaos, but.
It was worth it, right? It was worth it because it was a stellar Spurs performance. So it was all worth
wonderful. I'd say the only thing I can take away from it is that I've never been to Anfield, believe it or not. I've only ever been for morning matches and afternoon matches, and the atmosphere was just fantastic.
Yeah, it's just a special crowd. It really is a special. I told you, I did a few weeks ago. I did the Anfield tour with my mate who's a Liverpool fan. Mm-hmm. And we went in. When we actually went in to begin the tour, it was light outside, and luckily enough, the last part of the tour is the pitch. And by the time that we'd done the tour, and we got out to the pitch, it was just setting dark. The lights, the floodlights were on. They had the lights they bring onto the pitch for the grass. They had all that, and it just looked magnificent. And it just felt like I've been there before, but it felt like football stadium. Not entertainment, not rugby, not NFL, it felt like football. Like this is football. And
right. It's a proper football club. We're not a football club anymore. It was nice to be reminded of what a football club is like.
Absolutely. Nick Collison, all that mud he must be rolling around in today. I bet you today you're wearing your Emerson Royale AC Milan shirt again. Mate, I'm thinking of defecting to AC Milan. Do you know what? Sod it. I think I'm going to go and support Dartford, and they're in the Conference South. Like I'm falling out of love that much with my club, but we'll get to that a bit later. Lubo, when all is said and done, and we are going to be joined by Ben Kaufman and also Brian Daigle. Bearing in mind it is 5:15 in the morning where Brian Daigle is.
He doesn't care.
We are going to. He loves it. He loves it. He sent me a picture last night, and it looked like I'm sure you've all seen it. I'm sure you've seen it. it looks like, and I don't know whether it's just the moment the picture was taken, but it's Daniel Levy in the stand, not the cop, in the stand, and it looks like he's
falling asleep. Yeah.
And it was like, oh, Daniel Levy, you've been caught out, mate. Look, we will get to the game in more detail, but I think, look, the upshot of this is, Lubo, if we're gonna talk about this really callously before we get into the nitty gritty of the game, it is now the League Cup, which was our best chance of getting to a final. We're now out, and I would say we limped out, Lubo, but I mean, it was. We didn't even limp out. It wasn't a contest. It just felt like people in my chat were saying it's like a training game. It's like a friendly. Liverpool. I've got Liverpool mates, right, who were messaging me last night going, that was so easy for us. Like, at no point did they think they were in a game. At no point were they worried. And Lubo, we're going to have to do what you said and win the Europa League now, mate.
Told you. Did say, I did say, we don't have a Liverpool, in the League Cup or the FA Cup. We actually have.
Thank God.
I did say, we're a second tier team. I think we might be third tier. I'm not sure, but I was just saying, second tier team playing against second tier clubs in a second tier competition. But I'm not even sure we're second tier. I think we might be third tier at the moment. It's dreadful. It's just dreadful.
Yeah, by the way, when we drove to Liverpool last year, Nick drove and got us there in no time. We even stopped for a cheeky Nando's. We got there in no time. And then we met Perchy. That was a good night. That was a very good night at Anfield. Mate, listen, I'll tell you what, I couldn't do worse. I genuinely couldn't do worse at the moment. Look, Lubo, I think the shame of it from a Tottenham fan perspective, and I want to wait for the other two before we go deep into analysis and game, etc. But I think the shame of it is, we're all sitting there the last sort of 15 minutes of the first leg. We're all sitting there thinking, you know what, if we can just nick a goal, can we go there with something to fight for, some pride, we got it. We bloody got it. We got that goal, and we've had to wait 4.5, 5 weeks, whatever it is. We go there. And then to deliver that is as polite as I can be. I feel like every fan like you that went, I believe, what was it, 30 quid, 6,000 fans, if I'm not wrong?
It's 30 quid.
Right.
That's 180 grand.
Every single one of those. How much, sorry?
180 grand.
100. Oh, sorry. Yeah. For somebody, son should turn around and go, I'm on 190, 200 a week. Paid because that was utterly atrocious. Like, I'm not even going to mix my words. I am ashamed today to be a Tottenham Hotspur fan. Big up, Ben.
Hello.
Morning, Ben.
Morning.
Lubo's had a nightmare the last 24 hours, Ben. It's a nice 7-8 hour drive to Liverpool, getting lost with a coach driver, getting to the game at about 10 to 7:45. Then watches that, and then
I bet it was worse because I bet Johnny was talking about Richarlison all 8 hours.
No.
Oh, mate. Look, we're going to get into it, Ben. As I said to Lubo, I do want to just in a minute. I need a rant. I need a rant before we get into it. So if you will afford me that,
I'll show you, mate. I'm just going to sit back.
I'm going to go into it, right? And then we'll get into it. We've had fun, Lubo. It's been all fun for the first 9 minutes. All stops now. Big up to everyone in the chat before I do. I need to have a passionate rant here. I really do. Guys and girls, please smash the like button. There's 80 likes, 400 of you in here already and building. Before we do, VCats has come in very generously and said Deadwood material winks and skips better than Basuma and Sarr. And don't get me started about Højbjerg Youth Project and trust the process. VCats, that's going to lead on very nicely to what I'm about to say. And I'm not going to pull any punches here. If you're easily offended, if you love Ange Postecoglou, shut your ears, go and make a cup of tea or something. If you love Daniel Levy, shut your ears, go and make a cup of tea or something. I'm going to start this by saying I am utterly numb. I am numb to the point where last night is not a surprise. Last night can be the catalyst for my rant. But this is not about last night only. This is a Tottenham Hotspur we are rudderless. We have no leader on the pitch. We have no leader in the management areas, and we have no leader from the ownership. There is no one steering this ship. This ship is almost like the Titanic. It is inevitable that iceberg is about to be hit. And if we haven't hit the bottom of the V that I was told, remember, guys, we've got to hit the bottom of the V before we get better. Nonsense. Let me tell you what it is. Let me tell you from a non-biased fan, from a fan that doesn't care what the masses out there on the internet think, because I'll tell you the truth. This football club has got worse over the last 2 years. We have got worse. There is no project. There is no process. There is no youth project. There is no plan. There is no fruit to be bared. Stop. Stop with these words. Stop with these excuses. Stop with this. The club is going backwards. We have the worst manager I have ever seen at Tottenham Hotspur, ever. Yes, we have dreadful owners, but we've had dreadful owners and had managers that still know how to manage and coach. I blame the owners. I blame the owners for bringing in Scott Munn, as my man Lubo will tell you in a minute. I blame them for bringing in Munn, who brings in Ange. But I blame them more for not pulling the trigger. I am bored to death of hearing, well, let's wait for this cup game. Let's wait for that 6-pointer. Let's wait for that cup game. But we're still in the Europa. This man needs to go. He is tactically inept. He is emotionless. He is awful with the press. His tactics, I'm being kind using the word tactics. He has no tactics. And for all of you lot out there that are blinded by, but we attack. We've even stopped attacking. We don't attack. We can't defend. We are like a training game. Teams are turning up against Spurs and ripping us open wide through the middle every single game. And we are sitting there as a fan base and going, but injuries. No, everyone gets injuries. Injuries shouldn't mean that everything just dies. Injuries shouldn't mean that there's no tactical setup. Injuries shouldn't mean that suddenly we can't defend. Suddenly there's no midfield balance. Suddenly our forwards forget how to pass to each other. This is not what injuries do. Injuries are a temporary setback. But as Jamie Carragher said yesterday, love him, hate him, feeling different about him, he was right. He said we are using the excuses of the injuries too much. He said this has been going on for nearly 18 months. This form, these tactics, these mistakes, these blunders, we can't keep saying it's the tactics. They happened before this injury crisis. This manager has had more money than any other Spurs manager has had. And still we hear that, but he hasn't been back with this player. He didn't get this player. He hasn't had this. We have a better squad. I'll argue this in a minute with Lubo. We have a better squad than so many of those teams above us. And yet those teams above us get injuries. And you know what? Somebody slots in. And you know what? They're part of a big wheel, as my mate Ben will tell you. They're part of a big wheel where they slot in, they know their function. The whole thing doesn't fall apart because that little wheel has been taken out. This is the worst Spurs team I have seen. The worst. My mates asked me, what? Gross. What? Our dealers? Yes, worse. This is worse. It is a shambles. We have a fan base that want to praise all of these players. But then when we lose, it's the players' fault. Make up your effing minds. Are these kids generational? Are these players brilliant? Bentancur at the weekend, we're seeing things like this from football fans. I don't care who this person is, by the way. We're seeing things like this. Look, the most underrated player in the Premier League. Have a day off. Stop it. These are not top players, but they are better than 14th in the league and losing 4-0 away at Anfield. I am sick to death of this excuse. The manager needs to go tonight. And this is what I'm going to say to all you people. I don't want to start again. We don't want a new project. We don't want a new plan. We don't want a new process. Start what again? Start what again? We are at rock bottom. This is the worst I've seen us. This is the perfect time for a new manager to come in and pick up the pieces. There is nothing to start again. We're not well drilled. We're not well coached. Defensively, we are all over the place. The goalkeepers can't catch. The goalkeepers can't play with their feet. They've not been coached. They've not been drilled. The midfield, there's no pattern. Last night, but the injuries. Sarr, Bentancur, Basuma are our three first-choice central midfielders. They are our first three midfielders in the pecking order, but not drilled, not coached. No wonder they're giving the ball away a lot. No wonder they look lost. No one knows where they're playing. No one knows what they're doing. Poor Archie Gray at right back, left wildly exposed, 2-on-1 every time by Robertson and Gakpo because no one is coached. No one is coached. Guys and girls, I'm going to leave it with this for my rant. If this manager is not sacked very quickly, if everybody doesn't put their ego aside that they have been dreadfully wrong about this manager, and I get it. People want to back him. Fair play to you. Back him. But at what stage do you turn around and go, this is shit. This manager is awful. I will leave it there and I will pass over with my first question to the guys. Guys, I've got no problem with losing at Anfield. Mm-hmm. I have a problem with losing like that. Rant over. Sorry.
You don't need to apologise. It was good telly. You should clip it.
I'm going to.
You should clip it.
I'm bloody going to. I told Lubo I was going to, and I am.
I said this last night in the WhatsApp group that we're in. I'm only 29 years of age, so I don't really remember the Christian Gross era. I don't really remember. This is the worst Tottenham team I've ever seen in my life. The worst. They are just horrendous. And what summed it up for me last night is we had two right backs and a central midfielder on the pitch. He played the right back that's good at defending at right wing. He played the right back that's good at attacking at right back. And he played the centre midfielder at left back who's right-footed. It's a comedy. It's a comedy. If you... Not even Sullivan, not even the guys that made Dad's Army and Only Fools and Horses could come up with that. It's so comically... I laughed. I should be miserable about it, but it's funny. It's like watching Mr. Bean and you know he's about to eat the oysters that are off. Or when he walks down the stairs and you see that all the old people and he cut... It's funny. It's funny that he's playing Archie Gray at left back and he's playing the defensively good right back at right wing. It's funny because you're like, someone's still going to find a positive in this. They're still going to find...
Don't they?
He can't. It's almost like he gets. It's almost like he gets a semi from playing players out of position. And when I continue my rant, and people are going to blame the players. Well, whatever you think of the players we have on the pitch, that's fine. Football is subjective. I saw Bentancur come from the Juventus team, and when Juventus last won the league, Bentancur was one of the shining lights of the team that won Juventus the league, and that was the last time Juventus won the league. I've seen Bentancur come up against better teams and played really well. When we beat Man City away when Conte was the manager, I've seen Bentancur is not this bad. He's a good footballer. He's not a great footballer, but he's a good footballer. Basuma. When he was playing for Graham Potter at Brighton, he was one of the most up and coming box to box midfielders, and people wanted him. I saw him go to Arsenal and dominate them I saw him come to a good Spurs team and dominate them single handedly. He doesn't even know how to play football anymore. And Pape Sarr, who's a box to box midfielder, he's playing him as a number 10, even though he's got not a lot of technical ability, which is not his fault. I saw him. We went away to AC Milan in the Champions League, and Pape Sarr was the best player on the pitch that night for us.
Yeah,
he can't play He can't play football anymore. They're not coached, and like you said, they've got no belief because again, you've got to have some encouragement from your line manager. You've got to have some. There's no passion. There's. I look at Arteta. Yes, they were awful yesterday, the other day against Newcastle. They deservedly lost 4-0. But you see Arteta on the sidelines. He's running about. He's screaming. He's conducting. Our manager shows nothing. It's like he knows he's crap. It's like he's laughing to himself, thinking people are still enjoying this, and I'm still getting paid, and I'm not going to get the sack.
Just look. Let me bring in Lubo. By the way, Reezy, what risk? What risk? Can someone answer me, guys? Here, what is the risk of sacking a shit manager now? We're not in. We've now got knocked out of the. This is what so many people, Lubo, put their eggs in this basket. This was the. Well, hang on. This is going to be the first trophy, but Lubo, what is the risk if we're sitting here this afternoon, Lubo? Me and you do a show. We do an emergency meeting, and Ange has been sacked. What possible risk is there as we sit 14th in the table? We're not getting relegated. We're not getting Europe through the league. What risk is there to sacking this shit show?
There is no risk. You've got to get rid of this guy. We've said it for months and months. This isn't a horrendous performance at Anfield in isolation. This is 16 months of just garbage, literally, since that unfortunate game with Chelsea where we lost 5 players. And it was ironic because the first 20 minutes against Chelsea that day when we lost 4-1. That game, the first 20 minutes was the best football we played for the whole of last season. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
And if another 12 inches back, and Sonny would have put us 2-0 up, and who knows how long that manager bounce would have gone on for. But it wasn't to be, and the whole thing has literally collapsed bit by bit, brick by brick. The house has been falling down since the Chelsea game. And when you look at it, we were looking at the tactics last night, and I just want to go back to the first half hour.
Yeah, go for it.
They were compact. Salah was very wary of Spence whenever he got the ball. Unless they were playing a 1-2, he got the ball, he saw Spence, and he laid it back every time. Which wasn't a bad thing because they were piling players forward. And after half an hour, I just turned around to the guy next to me and I said, that's a decent half hour. To come here and be 0-0 after 30 minutes is what we all wanted. And then, again, never fails to disappoint, does he? Basuma in midfield, gives the ball away, and all of a sudden we are stretched. And they just flew like lightning. As soon as they won that ball, and the ball came across the box, and Gray's caught between, I think it was Núñez and Gakpo, because no one was on Núñez, because they're stretched, they're piling forward. We've lost the ball. They've got there's the overload as well, and it's 1-0. And I've got to tell you something, I didn't think so at the time, but having seen that, I was getting comments on my own WhatsApp group, my own close friends, and it's just Spurs and West Ham. And the West Ham guy was saying, your keeper was to blame for 3 of the 4 goals. So I had a look back at the first goal, and there were a few comments on social media as well. That went under him. He should have got that. And that's one shot Gakpo hit. Vicario would never have let in a million years, because that's Vicario's strength. And the whole thing was, as soon as the first goal went in, I mean, there was no ambition. You'll think to yourself, come through the first part of the game, try and quieten the crowd, 0-0, and then break and get yourself a second goal and get yourself a cushion. There was never any ambition. I mean, I think there was one attack, one break we had 2 players up and they had 7. It was just, the whole thing yesterday was a complete farce. You look on, and as a podcaster, or a day-to-day podcaster, Sav, you look at what's going on a daily basis. because that's what podcasters do. And as new stuff happens on a daily basis, you discuss the latest news. For me, it's a lot worse than that. For me, it's about Levy, and it's about, this guy is hopeless. He's been hopeless for some time. I wanted Ange out. Sorry, just drifting back. I wanted Ange out since Christmas, since the Brighton game last season. But the fact that Levy has kept him in, the fact that, you looked at the bench, you looked at their bench and you looked at our bench and you saw the strength in depth that they had. Yes, they've got one player injured. So I understand that. But the quality of the players that they had on the bench, most of them will get into our team. And I just think...
Sure. I don't think we're doubting that, Lubo. But the point is, and I agree with you. Look, we do the day to day, but it doesn't mean we're not Levy out and Enoch out.
I know that. But
my concern here is, as I said yesterday before the game, I said, listen, I expected to lose the game. I said we were going to lose 2-1, and I thought it was going to go to extra time. You
were positive, Savva.
Yeah, I was really positive yesterday.
You
predicting
thought we'd get a goal.
And the thing for me, no one's doubting that Liverpool have got better footballers. No one's doubting that Liverpool have got a better bench. But Spurs had 8 international players out on that pitch last night, right? Where's the fight? Like, let's strip it back. Let's strip it back from tactics.
No, you have done, Sav, you have done. Where was the fights?
Right.
That was it. You lose to Liverpool, it's no disgrace. But there was no fight. Nobody gave it a go. Where's the captain? Where's the leader?
Agreed.
Apart from the shot
that is something that goes on Ange, because he said in the summer plainly that I think we should develop leaders, not buy them in.
Exactly.
That is all on him, because he sold all the leaders. I don't like Eric Dyer, but Eric Dyer was a leader of that team. I'm not saying that Højbjerg is the greatest footballer in the world, but he is a leader. He sold Ollie Skip even. I think Ollie Skip had a bit of he had a calmness about him, and loads of people said that Ollie Skip was a future captain. But even Mourinho said it.
What's interesting, Ben, was that Kane Lloris left summer before last when Ange took over. So you've got different factions. You've got the South American crew, you've got the English crew, you've got Europeans. And Sonny was the one guy in the middle of it all that got on with everybody, brought everybody together. Yeah. So I understood why he made him the captain at that time. And I thought to have a captaincy group was quite clever, because, it happens in the dressing rooms. You've got senior pros that run dressing rooms. So if senior pros are running dressing rooms, why aren't they running it on the pitch as well, where it's far more important? So I fully understood that. Maddison's an England international. Romero's a World Cup winner and a Copa America winner. So for me, there was nothing wrong with that. But Sonny as a captain since the beginning of last season, he's just no captain. There are no leaders.
People look
back fondly on Højbjerg because he was a leader. I'm sorry, Højbjerg was just not good enough. If we're going to be a top club,
it was good enough for Conte, though, wasn't he, Ian? It was good enough for Conte. He was good enough for Mourinho. If he's good enough for them two, he's good enough to play for Tottenham.
Well,
look, can we just say this about again? I think this is what we've been led. This is what we've come to. For me, it's not about should we have kept Højbjerg, but the worry is that we let a character like Højbjerg go, and we've got a manager that's saying, I don't want leaders, I want to develop them. Now, if that is your stance, you have to live with this. Not you. I'm just talking about the Royal. You know what I mean? As the manager, if you have said, I don't want leaders, right? I think his actual words were, there are 2 ways to acquire leaders. You either go and purchase them by buying, or you develop. And I prefer the second option. Now, if he believes in that, then he's got nowhere to hide, because this is what he asked for, right? What we can't keep doing as a fan base is 1 minute we're going, oh my God, it's brilliant, the youth project, blah, 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 blah. And then the next minute it's, yeah, but he's not being backed. Now, I agree. No manager here is backed to win things. My issue isn't that we're not sitting. Listen, my issue is not that we're not in the League Cup final. My issue is that yet again, we've witnessed a manager that when 45 minutes of football to go, and by the way, with 45 minutes to go, we're level. right? At half time, yeah, we're 1-0 down, but we're level. I'm now saying to myself, what's the team talk? What has this manager got up his sleeve to say, you know what, this is a massive 45 minutes? And I'll ask you this. If Eddie Howe was in charge of Tottenham last night, what 45 minutes would you have seen in the second half? Would you have seen a 45 minutes where everyone's out of position and they just ran through us at will? At the end, they were lining up. They were lining up to have shots. Would Eddie Howe have allowed that to happen for 45 minutes? Or would he have got his players in at half time and said, right, guys, 45 minutes we are away from Wembley. We need a goal. We need to at least get to extra time. Guys, sit in. The two midfielders, sit in front of that back four, right? Tell, son, you're going to be our two outlets. We're going to go 5-3-2. You two are going to be our outlets. Sit in. Make it ugly. This could be the worst looking game of football in the world. But do not leave Mo Salah with the freedom of Anfield. Do not leave Cody Gakpo with the freedom of Anfield. What did Spurs do? No, where was the midfield in the second half? This is, guys, this is not just Liverpool. This is nearly every game. And yeah, people go, but look at Brentford. Again, it's showing that these are the anomaly. You know what, Luba, I was thinking about you last night and all the debates that we've had and stuff, right? And you know what I was thinking to myself? And I don't know if you agree with me on this. Most football clubs, games like last night, yeah? Games like Leicester at home, they're the anomaly for most clubs. Most clubs go, oh, God, that was a bad day at the office. Spurs have got to the point where this is the norm, and the wins against Brentford and Southampton are the anomaly. We've flipped it. We've got to the stage where we're so bad that the wins are the anomaly and the defeats are, that's what we do. Is that fair?
Have you seen this bit of news I just sent you, Savva? I just sent you a bit of news on your phone, which is really funny. Because you said this last night and it's come out now.
Matthias Tell would still like to join Man United in the summer if he can do it. Mate, listen, I messaged you both last night. I was joking, but right now, Matthias Tell and Danso are probably going to their agents and going, is there any small print? Is there any small print? I want to go back to Lens and I want to go back to Bayern Munich. Sorry, Lubo. Go on, mate.
Sorry, I can't remember what I was saying. What was I saying?
Just about how it's the anomaly versus the norm now.
Yeah, I said the other day after the Brentford game, because someone said, oh, you know, someone was having a pop. And I said, that's fine. I said, yes, I did think that Brentford would win. I'm obviously delighted Spurs have won. Very shocked. Didn't see that result coming. I'm going to pull you up on, and we go back to another disagreement we have, Sav, about the squads and other clubs. We didn't play for the first half, should I say, and until he made those ridiculous substitutions during the second half, Ange, we weren't playing a high line. We weren't playing inverted fullbacks. Everybody was back. Everybody was.
But we weren't doing anything, Lubo.
Correct. Correct.
This is the problem. We weren't doing. There was no tactic first half.
But the point I'm making, is that Liverpool hunt in packs.
Sure.
They close you down. They press very, very quickly. And in order to cope with that, you've got to have technically good footballers who, when they win the ball, can hold the ball, keep the ball, move into space, take the pressure off, and gradually build an attack. We weren't doing that because our players, particularly in midfield, and I've been saying that, I've been banging the drum, and people laugh, oh, he's Archie Gray's agent. Well, are you telling me those three midfield players last night were an absolute disgrace?
Agreed.
They were a disgrace. And forget about Levy, forget about Ange. If you technically cannot hold a ball, control a ball, and pass a ball, you shouldn't be in that team. And the reason why we are 14th and clubs like Fulham and Bournemouth and Forest are ripping up and doing much better than us is that their footballers are technically better and they are better. They have a better squad. I think the more this season has gone on, Sam, the more disappointed I am in this squad. Yes, a lot of it is down to tactics. But if you play football like I play football, when you're on the ball, it's your responsibility to get the ball from A to B. It's your
Ian, I agree, but the difference is
around play Mange when you're in midfield and you're passing blinds. You know, like Sarr did at Everton to give away the first goal. I mean, it's
Ian. I'm not doubting that, but the difference is as well. You've got 3 players there. None of them seem to know their role. None of them seem to know where they're meant to be. I agree with the passing, but Ian, if it happens every week, at what point do we stop saying? At what point do we go, they can't play this system, stop playing this system? Now, here's the difference. When you talk about Bournemouth, Fulham, those players, if you watch the Fulham midfielders, the Forest midfielders, they're not asked to play a passing game. If you actually watch how they play, they're not asked to play a passing game and to play these crazy passes across midfield. They are asked to do the basics. Look at Yates and Anderson at Forest. They win it, they give it. They win it, they give it. Tottenham's midfielders are asked to put their foot on the ball, look around. They can't do it. We've seen the differences as well. We've seen Basuma do well before. We've seen Bentancur do well before. We've seen Sarr do well before. So why are all of them looking terrible in this system?
We also saw Werner 5 years ago do well for years and years. And look at Werner now. We can't keep going back and saying he was great at Brighton 3 years ago.
Period of not being good though, Ian, isn't it? He wasn't good 6 years ago. The difference is that you were talking about movement. The way we play football, there's never a triangle. Football is always played in triangles.
Ange's built about moving off and fast movement and getting the ball and flooding forward.
Ian. I see rigidity. I don't see movement. I don't see ethic. This is his coaching.
The whole thing from top to bottom is dreadful. And for John Sonson saying, "Am I still Ange?" And I haven't been Ange for 16 months, John. 14 months.
Lupo, we agree on that. But this isn't me turning around and saying, oh, my God, the players are all brilliant. They're amazing. But again, I fail to believe that a new manager doesn't come in, look at their skill sets, not just the midfielders, look at their skill sets and say, right, how do I get the best out of this? And this is the difference. Marco Silva's done that at Fulham.
Yeah.
Yeah. Iriola's done that brilliantly at Bournemouth. Glasner at Palace. Yeah. No one's going to tell me Crystal Palace have a better squad than Tottenham Hotspur. No one is going to tell me Crystal Palace have a better squad than Tottenham Hotspur, right? But he gets them organised. He plays a back 3 to their strengths with wing backs to their strengths. The midfielders he's got, people like Jefferson Lerma, Will Hughes, Wharton. He's not asking them to get on the ball and play tiki-taka football. Win it, give it. Win it, give it, right? But the basics of football. What we've got is a manager that clearly asked these players to play across the midfield, which is dangerous. Now, Basuma yesterday, he gets the flack because his pass led to the goal. Before Basuma did that, right? How many times did Sarr and Bentancur do the same thing, but luckily it didn't end up in a goal, right?
It was horrendous. It was dreadful.
You're not telling me, Ian. And by the way, I don't think any 3 of them are amazing. You know my opinion on our midfield. You're not telling me, though, that all 3 are shit at the same time, right? You're not telling me that all of a sudden Kulu, who can't pass the ball, Sonny looks dreadful, right? The midfield 3 look dreadful. I fail to believe that all of these players suddenly over a summer have gone from good to absolutely diabolically shit. And this is the thing, whether or not we're Ange in, Ange out, I think we can all acknowledge now that this has got to change. Yeah. Like this style of football does not work. And the second half of that game yesterday, I've never seen a more gutless display. And by the way, someone's just sent me this. I'll tell you who it was at the end. See if you can guess who sent me this. They've said, welcome to read this out from me on your stream. It's nice. Getting permission. Very nice. Very nice. I said, for all the people who have used yesterday's game as a reason to retain Ange are now pivoting to Liverpool are a great side. The way people move the goalposts is beyond embarrassing. Instead of admitting I got it wrong with this manager, they are double, treble, quadrupling down on this manager. The excuses to blame the players is ridiculous. When they go and beat Man City twice, they are world class. When they lose, they are shit. Can people be balanced? It's getting embarrassing. And you know what? Do you know what? That was Perchie who sent that to me.
Oh, no, look
that
at
was my Perchie, right? But do you know what? He's spot on. When we beat Brentford, it's, there you go, Ange adapts, look how great the players are. When we beat Man City twice, when we beat Villa, when we beat Liverpool in the first leg, it's, oh, look at these players. Then when we lose, what's Ange meant to do? He ain't got no players. Well, if you go to Anfield yesterday and do what you did at Man City, you don't concede 4 goals. But we didn't. We went there with no game plan. There was no plan to get the ball up the pitch. The central midfielders, if you're gonna play 3 defensive-minded midfielders in terms of not one of them being creative, play on it. Stick all 3 in front of the back 4. Don't let Liverpool play through us, yeah, and make it difficult for them to get the ball out wide. Nope. We play 3 defensive-minded midfielders, and the first half, I know Ian's saying first 30 minutes we were compact. They opened us up at will. They had a goal offside. They had shots blocked. They had multiple corners. They opened us up at will. We are the only club that could do that. 3 defensive-minded midfielders and no ability to block shots, no ability to plug gaps, no ability to defend. This manager is the Emerson Royale of managers. Over to you, Barry.
Well, we had to get him in. It makes a change. You getting him in the first sentence of me getting it in. Ian, if I was you, I'd have just turned the coach around last night and not even gone. What an absolute shambles getting there. It just sums it up. I got mud on my face from last night, but if anyone wants to come at me and talk to me about our captain, our leader, please come at me, because he, like I've been saying for weeks, is finished. I don't care. He'd had nothing, or you can sit there and say, "Oh, he wasn't given any of the balls. He wasn't given any service. He wasn't doing anything." No, okay, maybe he wasn't, but he didn't sit there and start getting the team together. He didn't sit there saying to the lads, "Come on, let's sort this out." He didn't sit there and show some passion. He didn't sit there and show some fight. Look, Laura sat there last night after 1, after 2, after 3, after 4. Like, she was sat there saying to me, you could tell she was laughing, but she couldn't laugh because I was getting more and more pissed off. I got so angry last night, like I nearly turned it off and put Love Island on. That's how bad it was last night, right? And I'm so, like, this is it. For me, I'm done. Season ticket, done. I'm only going to games because Leo's coming over from America. Other games, that's it. Season ticket is back in. I'm not spending another penny on this club because they're an absolute joke.
I just quickly, I keep seeing this a lot about who takes over in the short term. Ryan Mason, we definitely be relegated. I keep seeing this. I asked people to go and actually look at the factual evidence of when Ryan Mason has taken over. But by the way, I don't want Ryan Mason, but we're making out as though Ryan Mason lost every game he had as Tottenham manager, and this isn't true. This isn't true.
He won 6, drew 1, lost 5, which is a lot better than Ange's recent record, guys.
Right. And he wouldn't play inverted fullbacks. And by the way, we're not getting relegated. Please, people, stop. We're not getting relegated. We are, what are we? We are 10 points clear of relegation, plus goal difference. We are 11 points clear of relegation. It's not. Oh, I'm so pissed off. I just don't know what to say about this football club.
Yeah.
But can we talk about their second goal, by the way, guys? No, sorry, not the second goal. I want to talk about Soberslai's goal, which was the third goal. When they won the ball, right? If I'm not wrong, when they won that ball in midfield, there was no midfielder of ours anywhere near their player, right? Nowhere near their player. When their player played the through ball, I'm seeing Connor Bradley marauding forward, right? He's marauding forward like he's Kevin De Bruyne. through the middle of our park. No one's gone with him. No one's standing with Szoboszlai. And it was just the easiest goal you'll ever score, right? And when we're talking about players giving the ball away, again, it's not just the central midfield three. Last night, Danso, listen, I thought Danso did well. I'm not knocking him. Danso was was one of the better players last night. He was giving the ball away. Ben Davies for the goal, if anyone's sort of for the penalty, Ben Davies played it straight out to their player.
Yep.
And Mo Salah, by the way, last night, I'll tell you what he was world class at. Don't think it was a world-class performance. Do you know what he was world-class at? He just peeled off. Every moment Liverpool got the ball, he peeled off like he was, what is it when those things are, you can't see, you know those ships that you can't see?
Ghost ships?
No, you know, like...
submarine.
They go, huh?
Submarine.
What about a submarine?
No,
you know, like a Klingon bird of prey.
Invisible. He just...
invisible. Okay.
So, yes, a Klingon bird of prey. Star Trek wins.
I couldn't get the word. But every time I was watching, every time Liverpool won the ball, even in their own half, you watch Mo Salah, he just peeled off into a little space on his own. He just peeled. And I'm thinking, this is one of the best attackers in world football. And Spurs have got nothing for him. So you've got Davis giving the ball away, right? You've got no one tracking runners like Conor Bradley. Virgil van Dijk completely unopposed. In the last 10 minutes, I mean, they were queuing up. They were, weren't they? Jota, Elliott, they were all just queuing up for the fifth. There are no tactics, guys. Yes, I'm not going to, the players aren't blameless. The players aren't blameless at all. They're not. But there's no setup, guys. There's no project.
Do you know how this started? How it all started off last night, and it was when Van Dijk elbowed Richarlison, and from there, the rest of those players sat there and going, "Oh, we don't want this." You could tell from that moment when Richarlison. Okay, look, for me. It should have been at least a yellow card, right? Because it wasn't it. And in some instances, you've probably seen players get sent off for something like that, right? But the moment that started, and then we saw exactly that we weren't up from it. Richarlison just kind of walking around, giving it the old, you know what you did, you know what you did. Shut up, get your head down and start, you're in a fight here, boys. So let's be in a fight. But like we said yesterday, like we said many times, these players do not fight. When there's a team that gets in amongst us, we go missing. We look scared. We look, and that then filtered into when Kinski dropped that ball, and then Ben Davis's head was cut open. And it just, there was that time when the cross came in, Van Dijk's leaving it because he thinks Kinski's going to catch it, and he just puts it away for a corner. I mean, it's just the decision-making, the thought process. Liverpool, again, it could have been, if they wanted to, it could have been worse, right, yesterday. That's the thing. But there's no fight. There's no Richarlison with his calf muscle. I mean, that is just made of... It's just embarrassing, and him smacking the floor like, oh my God, like, mate, you've been jogging around, right? Jogging around, you do one run and then you've done your calf. I mean, come on, mate, what is this all about? This is just nonsense. And then as for Tell, it was 45 minutes. Tell, look, you could see. Did you see Tell when he was running up and he was going to the players? Come on, let's go, let's do something. He wasn't listening. Him and Spence probably, and Danso probably the only three players that come out with anything with a bit of.
It's because they've not been there yet, Barry. They've not been there long enough. They're not broken.
Yeah, that's true. He's not.
Spence has got nothing to lose because Ange ostracised him at the beginning of the season. Didn't even put him in the Europa League squad when we need attacking players. So he knows this manager doesn't rate him. The moment they get in a player that Ange rates more than him, Spence knows he's out the team. They had nothing to lose. Danzo's going back to Lon in the summer. Tell already, as you said, Barry, which I sent to Savva, Tell already wants to go to Man United. He doesn't want to play for Spurs. He's gone in the summer. And Spence probably knows if Ange is here in the summer, either a new manager comes in and gives him a proper chance next year in his proper position, or he's going to go to another club and say, you know what? I've played well this year. The rest of the team would be right.
And do you know what the ironic thing was? Everyone laughing at Porro being on the bench. When he came on, Jesus Christ, it showed it up even worse, right? It showed it up for what it was. He cannot defend.
But this is what I said at the beginning of the show, Barry. They put the fullback that can't defend at right back, the fullback that's a better defender at right wing.
Yeah.
It's what you. I don't want to say you're an oracle, Barry, but you said it last year. Porro should be a right winger. Porro should be a right winger. He's a good crosser of the ball.
I'm not doing this. I said it first. That's Savva's job.
You did do it, though. You said it last year. Emerson at right back, Porro at right wing. You said it last year.
Just quickly, by the way, something that Jamie Redknapp actually said yesterday was very similar to what Future Music is saying. Jamie Redknapp said, if you actually look at Spurs tactically, he said they're giving the ball away a lot, but there's no one to pass to. There's no out ball. There's nowhere for them into these midfielders and these fullbacks to pass as respite. I noticed it yesterday with Ian's mate Gray. I think Gray looks up. I think he panics because there's no out ball, and then his pass is shit out the back because he's like, I don't know what to do. I think the same can be said of Spence was doing it. Danso, Davis. I'm not excusing these players, but if you've not got players that are good at passing, which is terrible, really. But if you've not got players that are good at passing, maybe don't have a system of football which relies on everyone being really good at passing. And that, for me, is where I get it with the injuries. But I will always be here to remind people, right? Let's stop pretending we were good before the injuries. I need to remind people of this. They're going on as though we're only shit because we've got injuries. This has been going on, like Lubo said at the beginning of the show, this has been going on for 15, 16 months, these results, right? We've lost to Palace, to Ipswich, failed to beat Leicester, with our best players, right? We've lost many games with our best players, right? This isn't suddenly going to be, you get your first team players back and everyone's brilliant. Because let me just let you, other than Solanke yesterday, if he had brought back his two best centre-halves yesterday, can you tell me what changes in that game? I'm asking for a friend. In that setup, with Van der Ven and Romero, can you tell me what would have been different in that game yesterday?
Nothing.
It's the tactics. It's the tactics. Nothing would have been different. We would have been left wide open and exposed.
Yeah, we played a low block yesterday, which nullifies the advantage that Mickey Van der Ven has over everybody else because of his pace. I don't know. It's the whole thing's appalling. It's just that there's so many things you can go through here. For me, the worst thing was the lack of fight from most. I was reading comments. The kids gave it a go. I thought Davis gave it a go. I don't think Davis is particularly great. He's done very well this season. Davis has played above expectation this season. I think we can all agree that. And the kids were giving it, but you look at the senior professionals. I'm sorry, it was dreadful. And players go on the pitch. There's no, you can say that there's no out ball to play. We didn't half miss Solanke in that respect last night. I think we did because Solanke can hold the ball. He can hold it a lot better than
he also can't as well. Like again, it's revisionism.
There's a lot do that in this team. He can hold the ball up, but he doesn't play that. He doesn't play like that.
I think the whole thing's chaos, Sam. Everything's 100 miles an hour. Everything's chaos. So yes, we missed Solanke more probably than anybody else last night. Maddison to put his foot on the ball in midfield. Agree. Although I did think Birdvale looked bright when he came on, but the game was done by then.
Sorry, just quickly, Kate. Sorry, I mean, I'm not going with this rhetoric. Yes, Liverpool are the best team in the Premier League. That doesn't mean we see a gutless performance. Fulham went there. Nottingham Forest went there. They both picked up points. They were hardworking. They got yellow cards. They put in tackles. There's no excuse for the gutless performance. I'm sorry. It can't just be, we beat Man City. We beat this Liverpool team 1-0. There's no excuse for the gutless performance. I'm sorry. I don't care if you're playing the best team in the world or not.
So can I just say to Kate and Jimbo, there were 6,000 fans like me that took, today's a non-starter for me. I've had 3 hours sleep, so I've taken today off. I basically took half day off yesterday, There are people that have spent money in staying overnight in hotels. There were people on several coaches, by train, by car. 6,000 went up and gave and showed commitment in supporting the team. Although I thought the support last night in the ground was absolutely abysmal, as it has been for the last few away games that I've been to. There was just an air of expectancy. But the one thing that you cannot excuse is a lack of effort. If the fans give 100%, these boys are not on shabby money. They're on big, big money.
Yeah.
And they're entitled, for their own pride, their own personal pride and professional pride, they have got to give 100% from the word go. If they'd have lost 6-0 last night, but they'd have gone down fighting, then they would have deserved the applause that the fans gave them. God knows, I was out of the ground by then. Johnny's son got on the coach a few minutes after me and said, "Can you believe the fans were clapping at the end of the match?" Staggering, really, because that performance was just dreadful.
Yeah, Ian, you're right. I was sat there at 2-0 and 3-0. I said, if we just show a bit of fight, I'd rather we lost 5 or 6-0. If we just show something, if we can show something for 20 minutes.
It is on Ange. Sorry, Nick, let me ask you on this. Sorry, but when we're saying that's on the players, not on Ange, Ange's job is to have them motivated for this game. Ange's job is with them training all week to say, we've got Liverpool away. This is how organised we're going to be. Get to every first tackle. If you can't win that, get to every second tackle. I mean, I'm not absolving blame from the players, but when it's every game, why are fans, why are we so against blaming this god-awful manager? Any other manager gets shit for these performances we've seen the last 15, 16 months. This manager just seems to be getting away with it by so many fans. I just don't get it. I'm not saying you, Kate, but just so many go, it's not on Ange. It's not his fault. Well, it is his fault. Put 2 defensive midfielders in front of the back 4 and say, do not let Soboslai pull strings. Do not let Curtis Jones run deep from midfield. Tell Jed Spence, stay on Salah. Yeah. Mark him. Whatever you do, do not get attracted to the ball like a moth with a flame. Right? Follow Salah. We don't do any of this. And this is when it comes down to instructions.
So
it's every game.
Destiny 5, if he's in the chat, was saying this yesterday. Do a Sergio Ramos in the Champions League final to Mo Salah. First thing you do, the first time he gets the ball, take him out. Take a yellow card. Show the only person that did actually show a bit of fight was Richarlison. He did look a bit embarrassing at the end because Virgil van Dijk mugged him off. But as soon as one of their players, Szoboszlai or Salah, gets the ball, take him out. Show a bit of. This is not going to be an easy. This is not going to be an easy game for you today, boys. We're going to make this really hard for you.
I do think
did we get a yellow card? Did we get a yellow card all night?
No, we didn't get 1 yellow card. I do think, Sav, that what you're talking about is from the first whistle, and Ange does nothing. Everything you described.
Great.
Right, they should have been set up differently. They weren't. That's down to him. If you're in a game and you see things aren't working out, then you change things. Again, that's down to him. In terms of the effort and getting up for a match, if a professional playing at Anfield in a cup semi-final can't be up for that game, they shouldn't be playing. They shouldn't be plying their trade in football. Because that is a disgrace. That's professional personal pride. And
at half time,
when I played, I gave 100% in every game, regardless. Even if we got buried, you give 100%, and that's. I'm sorry,
I agree, but Lubo, I agree, but Lubo, the worrying thing for me with all of this is normally when this sort of thing happens, you can look at 1 or 2 players and go gutless. Yeah, when it's the entire 11, right? I'm asking, what was the training? What was the game plan? I'm asking at half time. When you're still, by the way, I've said this before, at half time, we're not knocked out. At half time, you're 1-1. What was the rousing speech at half time? We should have seen them coming out full of energy, into every tackle, right? Working hard, doubling up. We saw the complete opposite. And I'll ask this question. And again, people are saying I'm absolving the players. I'm not. But the problem is when it's been going on for 15, 16 months, the manager's got to be the main catalyst.
They down tools last night, Savva. They down tools last night.
They did. Keeping this manager, Ben, I don't understand how people think that anything's going to change if you keep this manager. He has shown, whether it's right or wrong, that the players don't want to play for him. If the players don't want to play for him, unfortunately, you can't remove a squad of 25, right? I'm not saying it's right, but unfortunately, you can't sack 25 players, but you can sack a manager. And this, we have seen here, this manager can't rally the troops. This manager doesn't know how to go in at half-time in a cup semi-final and go, guys, we're at rock bottom. We're at Anfield. Go out there and give those mugs like Lubo, who have travelled 7 hours to get here, right? Go out there and give those fans, something to be proud of. And I said to you yesterday, Nick, we did a stream yesterday before the game. And I said, you know what? If we lose, we lose. I've seen Spurs lose semi-finals. That's not going to hurt me. But leave everything on that pitch. Yeah. And from a management perspective, do everything you can to give us the best fighting chance. Players, leave everything on that pitch. Both failed miserably last night. And as Ian said at the beginning of the show, this isn't just about Liverpool. This isn't just about one game against Liverpool. This is now that game against Chelsea, the game against Brighton, right? The game against Leicester, Wolves, the game against Ipswich, Palace, the first game against Leicester, Coventry. It is shit after shit after shit. And we're sitting here going, it's a risk to get rid of this manager. I think, and I'm going to go to some super chats. So I want to talk about one of them as a talking point at the end. Jerome has said, I've seen these abject performances under Poch in the Champions League final, Conte semi-final against Chelsea, Mourinho against Zagreb. There is a fundamental problem with this club. It's not just 2 years. It's been more than that. Sure. But if we're going to go back that far, these players weren't playing for Poch in that final. Most of these players weren't playing for Conte in that semi-final and Mourinho in that semi-final. This manager's brought these players in. I keep hearing that he gets on the phone to them and sells it to them. And how great is our manager because he makes phone calls. He's brilliant. Funny how he didn't.
I think what Jerome's talking about here, you walk into a new job, okay? You walk in, whatever industry you're in, you walk in and the guys at the top have got a mentality of success. They're flying. They want success. Everything they do, from them down to several levels of management, right the way down to where you are, it's geared to success. And this club is geared to profit. And they built a business and they killed a football club. So players that come in must see a difference between Tottenham and other teams. I mean, Tell has come from Bayern Munich with the mentality that they have got. And he's walked into our club and he must look at that and think, shit, nobody wants to win here.
No, I agree.
From Levy down to Postecoglou. Postecoglou doesn't know how to win at this level. He is completely lost. It's like a kid who's floundering, who can't swim in water, and that's what he is like.
I agree. I agree.
I think that's what Jerome's looking. Basically, the mentality is we haven't got over the line for so long. Nobody there knows how to get over the line. It's like, but nobody's geared up to success.
I agree. I'm not doubting Jerome on that. I agree with Jerome on that. But I'm not talking about geared to success. I'm talking about setting up an 11. This manager, we're talking about, he doesn't know how to get over the line. He doesn't know how to set up a football team, which is the fundamentals at the beginning. I agree, Jerome. Thank you very much for that. Happy Chappy. I said, can anyone explain what Ange's style of football is? It just looks like he picks 11 players and tells them to go and have fun. I don't think anyone will be able to tell you. Anybody I've got more super chats, but does anyone know what Ange's style is?
No.
Crap. There we go. It's crap. I agree. I'm bored, Happy Chappy, of hearing that, oh, well, at least we play attacking football. No, we bloody don't. Rob Welshspur has said, not even leadership. They lack professional pride. Completely agree with you. everything, all of it. It's disgustingly bad. Mr. Box Office, look who this one's aimed at. He has said, Barry, you're a year too late. Step back down on Son. Would you like to respond to Mr. Box Office, Nick?
Well, hang on.
Here we go.
Alex, there's a trophy for you, mate, because you said it a year ago, and I'm a year too late. Sorry, mate. There you go. There's a trophy for you. You've now got the same amount of trophies as Emerson Royale, mate.
And don't get used to it.
Yeah, don't get used to it.
Don't get
used to it.
Do you know what I love about Alex? He agrees with nearly everything I say, and then says, "But don't get used to it." But you keep telling me not to get used to it. Big up, Alex. Really appreciate that. And Dan Green, who I want this as our next talking point. And welcome Brian Daigle at 6 in the morning. Is it for you?
6:15. Yeah.
6:15. Well done. What a trooper. Nearly as good as Lubo with his 3 hours sleep. Dan Green, big up to you, has said we have a better chance of the Europa if we sack him. Never a truer word said, in my opinion. Guys, when we talk about the risk of sacking this manager, can we please flip it and maybe look at the reward, maybe, of sacking this manager? Maybe a bit of feel-good factor. Maybe a little bit of, thank fuck, we don't have to do all this stupid inverting, no tactical football. Anyone? Thank you, Dan.
Bringing Harry to the end of the season.
No chance of him joining Tottenham.
But is he right? Is he right? If we sacked Ange now, have we got more chance of winning that Europa League? Because I agree. I massively agree with that.
Yeah, I agree. Someone that can actually set us up to win games of football and make us hard to beat. Because that's how you win big games away from home in Europe. You don't concede many goals. We go to Anfield and we concede 4. We go to Everton and concede 3. We play against Leicester and concede 2. We concede against every single team because it's just, it's so easy to play against Tottenham. Liverpool didn't even get out of first gear last night. That's how bad. They didn't even get out of first. That's how bad
it was like one of those lions playing with like the dead meat on the side of when they just caught it.
It's like
what it was. That's what we are. It's not just Liverpool as well. We all know that Villa. Villa have made some good signings. They've got something to prove. This is just going to be...
people yesterday saying we're going to beat Villa at the weekend. Not a chance in hell are we going to beat Villa if we play like that with Watkins and Asensio. And is Rashford allowed?
Watkins is injured, I think.
Oh, okay, that's good. But
Marcus Rashford, who can't hit a barn door, will turn up and score against us, won't he?
Just for a talking point, Ange Postecoglou, this is how clueless he is right now. He has just said in a press conference.
Oh, good. I can't wait for this.
No, this is brilliant. He said that Dane Scarlett is fit and available to play for Aston Villa, even though he is cup tied because he played in the FA Cup for Oxford. So this is where we are going now. We've had a club that didn't know how many players they'd loaned out, and we had to get rid of one. Now we don't know players that can play in a cup competition because they're cup tied. Ian was speaking about Matthias Teller. He's been at a club that's winning. He's come in now, but yes, Ian. But has Matthias Teller walked into a training ground and been asked by a lady, who's your favourite superhero? Or what did you have for dinner last night? Or listen, Matthias, he's got up levels, mate. He doesn't know what he's come into. I will say, for people that are saying about not blaming Ange yesterday and it weren't his fault, it's the players. Listen, and Liverpool, the best team in the country. Liverpool needed 2 stoppage time goals to beat Brentford away 2 weeks ago.
Right.
Brentford pushed them to the very, very limits.
Is it because they're coached and organised, Brian?
Mate, listen, this club, honestly, this club doesn't know its left foot from its right foot.
Matthias Tell will become a champion of Uno, which is a really hard. Yes. It's a really hard game to master.
Can we just go back to doing Squid Games, and can they actually kill me this time, please, so I don't have to watch this anymore?
Well, it's shambolic. It's shambolic. It's honest. It's really. Go on.
Sorry, go on, Brian. Sorry.
No, I was just about to say I've been listening to you since I've been up since about 5:15. But I thought, Joe, let's just chill for a bit, and then I'll try and do it. Like, you just look at that performance. From what has been tweeted and been told, apparently Bergvall had to tell Bentancur to go and clap the fans last night. Bentancur was going down the tunnel without saying thank you to the fans. Bergvall had to turn him round. There's no fight. There's no desire. That the very least we ask is that you put in a performance. The very least we want you to do. I remember playing Sunday League football where if your legs weren't muddy or your shirt didn't have mud on it, my manager threw you in the biggest mud puddle and said that's what you should come off the pitch like. There's no dedication. There's no commitment. They're here for a paycheck. There's just nothing. There is just nothing at this. There's no patterns of play. There's no understanding. And like Ben said, I was doing the Benny Hill music when I saw our midfielder that was at right back that normally plays centre back could have gone centre midfield. And then the commentary even said, "Oh, now we get to see Archie Gray going to centre midfield." And he went, "Oh no, he's left back." and Spencer's gone to right back, and right wing. What,
Brian? Should Spence? You'd have thought. Listen, I'm sure Porro was left out of the first 11 because the guy's played more minutes than anyone else,
right.
And it is absolutely knackered. Under Ange's system, he's always caught out of position. Unfortunately, balls are played in behind him. If you look at the goals that we conceded, probably more goals have come down our right-hand side, balls played behind, players overloading, balls being whipped in than in any other area on the pitch. But when Porro came on, you play him in front of Spence because that's where he should be playing.
Correct.
Not behind Spence. You don't play a right-footed central midfield player in Gray at left back. That was just ridiculous.
Can I ask you a question? Why, when he brought him on, Lubo, surely everybody, like Brian said, saw that the obvious was, right, Porro in, Gray to midfield, Porro to right back. It just looked really obvious.
Yeah.
Not for Ange. He's got a tinker. He's got to, and I felt for Gray. I feel for Archie Gray. People keep telling me that this season's good for his development. I don't care what anyone says. We are not developing this guy in terms of being a footballer. This kid is being put out there. Go on, do that. But his midfield game, his positional sense, his passing, we're not developing any of it. This guy is. I feel for him so much. I've done a full 180 on him. I feel so sorry for him, Lubo. And you, as his agent, should be sorting this out.
I think there was one situation. You're 100% right. He should be in midfield on Sunday. There's no question about it. You know,
there is
in place. In place of any of those three, any of them. I've been saying for ages they are too inconsistent. They are not up to our level. And I still believe Tottenham is a big club and we should be much higher and we should have top managers in and we should be bringing in good players and paying them proper wages. And there are so many problems at the club. What I did see yesterday was when he was at centre-back, there was a long ball that he came in, he took it on his chest, under pressure, turned, laid it back. And you can see that he's got control and he didn't panic. And that was great. I was really pleased to see that. He was left on his own for Rumscully. Gray's been played at centre-back. Dorrington had a really bad injury, came back literally about 3 or 4 weeks before the Southampton game. And that's why they thought it best to send him out on loan. That's why Dorrington hasn't been playing for, earlier this season and maybe given a chance in front of Gray at centre-back because Dorrington is a very good centre-back and hopefully he will come through and develop into a first-team player. So the guy...
Not under this bloke, he's not. I can assure you, not under this manager, he's not.
Just want to answer the Wolves fan that's on here. ENIC did not take over in 96 to win the League Cup in 99. That was Sugar. ENIC took over in December 2000. So just to clear that up, the amazing thing was that when he made those substitutions, we were wide open after that. It was literally, it was. I mean, the first half an hour was before they scored. It was attack v defence, but at least we were compact. You know, we had a 4, a 3, and a 3. After that, it was you know, all bets off. They could just run through at will. And that third goal, I mean, have you ever seen a team so wide open as that? It was just horrendous.
Yes, I have. It's Spurs week in, week out. I have seen a team this wide open.
Well, shall I say, have you seen another team like that? You haven't?
No. I haven't seen another team. You know what, right? When you watch like under 5s, under 6 football, right? And you see all the kids, right? They've got no positional sense and they just all follow the ball. You've all seen it, right? They all go up and down the pitch together. Like, do you know what I mean? They're like a magnet. That's Spurs. We literally have no idea how to be in shape. And that has to go back to the manager. Now, listen, I want to talk about this, guys. I want to talk about this because I want to have, first of all, I want to have a look and say, look, this was the first half, right? No, it wasn't. This was the first half, right? I mean, listen, we're going to Anfield. I get it, right? It's tough. But this is a semi-final of a cup, right? And then if you think that's bad, all right, I think we had a little bit more possession second half. But look at the number of goal attempts in that second half. Look at the number of goal attempts in that second half, right? And then when you add all of that together, right, look at that. It's another game, guys, where Tottenham Hotspur have had 20-plus shots against us. And this is what Jamie Carragher had to say about it. Now, I know that football fans will go, oh, I don't like Jamie Carragher. But he's bang on with this other than the one bit. And I think you'll all know which bit I disagree with him on. He said this. They've lost 20 in their last 45 games. That's an awful lot. Going back to the Chelsea game at the home from last season, since then, their record is horrendous. It's not just a case of injuries right now. Bang on, Jamie, which I do sympathise with, and playing 18-year-olds. I'd like to see him given till the end of the season. Boo, Jamie Carragher. Boo. But I think we've got to be careful about making the injuries of the last 2 to 3 months. This form has been a problem since last season. Why can Jamie Carragher see it? Half our fan base still just think this is injuries.
Because I think Jamie Carragher's a football man, and I think a lot of the people that aren't backing this aren't necessarily football fans, because clearly they don't understand football. Because you can't lose this many games, you can't be 14th in the league with the prices we pay and the players we have at our club, and play like this. You can't be set up like this.
Ben,
can't physically back this anymore. Like any metric.
If you talk to football fans, they say, who's your favourite team to watch? And they say Tottenham, because they're neutral. They got no skin in the game. They're not Spurs fans. And they'll watch Spurs on Sky or TNT or whoever. And it's like great. It's great entertainment. You know, they come and they'll watch a game.
Team put 10 goals past us. They want to see goals.
Yeah, it's wide open stuff. It's constant attacking.
I don't think it is constant attacking.
No, I'm talking about when they're watching Spurs. When they're watching Spurs, it's constant attacking because we're having 15, 20 shots against us every game. Someone made a comment as I got on the coach yesterday. I just fucking flipped. And the last thing I said, literally about 10:15, I went mental about Levy, the club, Munn, Ange. And the last thing I said was, this manager couldn't coach a team of under 10s. And there were several fathers, there were a few fathers in there, all with kids that play football. There were fathers that were coaches that have taken teams. And I think that sums it up. He has got to go.
Look what we've got.
It's all Ange's fault. Get rid of a new manager. Always solves a problem. Yeah. How about a bit of patience? Well, Mike, are you happy with what you saw last night with the lack of effort, with the lack of tactical acumen that Ange has shown last season and this season? Forget the first 10 games. That was a new manager bounce. We all loved it. We all thought, fantastic, what's going on here? And then all of a sudden, the wheels came off and they haven't gone back on. He doesn't know how to change games. He doesn't pick players in the right position. His training session has ultimately weakened bodies that has left players vulnerable to injuries, and we're seeing the injuries pile up now. Injuries piling up means you cannot get a settled team. You cannot build partnerships. Please tell me, after assessing all of that, why we should be patient anymore. Do you want the team to go down? Do you want us dragged into a relegation fight? Seriously, what do you want? Where do you think Ange is taking us? You've seen the shit that we've been watching all season. Seriously, there are pundits like Redknapp, Carragher, all over football.
At least Spurs got the score right. At least Spurs got the score right. He got the score right.
He did.
But this is what we do, Lubo. This is what we do. Look, he's anti-Ange. Or he's being bloody honest, Faz.
Look, sorry, Sam, I've got to carry on, bro. Do you know what the thing is? And this is what this football club bloody does to you, and people just overlook it. Managers have got sacked for doing better.
Yep.
Every single one of our managers have got sacked for doing better. Ramos, okay, was bottom of the league, but he'd won a cup the season before. Every single manager, whether it be Conte and his outburst, whether it be Yo and halftime, whether it be AVB, whether it be whoever you want to go down this list, all lost their job for doing better. All had to walk had to get their P45 for doing better. And when people keep saying patience, 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 I only changed to being Ange out for us since the NLD. I was backing him absolutely constantly, but how long is patience? Is it how long is a piece of string here? Before it was, oh, don't worry, we're still in all the cups. Well, we're not in all the cups. We're now down to 2. Very, very probable. In fact, definitely, as of Sunday evening, we're down to 1. When you look at this, have you seen that stat that came out today about how many minutes the youngsters have played under 18 compared to any other team in this country?
Yeah.
We are literally, and people go, oh yeah, but it's injuries. Well, no, it's not. You look at our summer window, there was 1 first teamer and teenagers. That's what we do now. There are no people coming. The quality of player is going down. The manager has no idea. And do you know what? They go into training today, or they're warmed down, whatever they're doing. There'll be no accountability. There'll be no if this was back in the 90s, the place that people don't want to go back to, you would have been hearing about tempers going in the dressing room, players coming together, and the senior players go, right, this is goddamn unacceptable. And it would get heated, it would get lively, there'll be some kind of accountability. Nothing. We just move on to the next one. And Mabba, as you said, I said the reason I backed into the Arsenal game is I actually said I want to see a project through. I want to see this club actually stick with someone so we can say, do you know what, we did it. But this manager does not adapt. He asked this midfield, like Savva said earlier, they are all defensive-minded midfielders, not really a creative bone in their body or thought in their brain, and still asked them to play the creative way. It's absolute madness.
Yeah.
It's his jumpers for goalposts. There is just no rhyme nor reason for the things he's doing. He hasn't been helped out by this ownership, bringing in the correct players or the quality of players. It's always, yeah. Do you know what? I saw a tweet the other day and I pissed myself about it. And it said, do you know what? When we're all dead, Spurs are going to be fucking brilliant. Because all the youngsters we keep buying, wait 2 more years, wait 2 more years. When we're all gone, we'll be bloody amazing.
I've got a really good idea, Aki. We should do the Ange fan idea when they come for the season ticket revenue. When they say, Mr. Kaufman and Mr. Lubo, pay your season ticket price, we should put our arms like that and we should say patience. We'll do it next year. We'll do it the year after. We should say patience. Patience, my friend.
So,
well, we'll say I'll say fair play to Nick. I've got to say fair play to Nick, although he mentioned Leo and not me back in April. He just forgets me because I was there,
in the mud.
Just chilling in the morning. He goes, yeah, I'm keeping my tickets for Leo, and then just went on. I was like, charming.
Mad.
But no, do you know what, Nick? Fair play to you, bro. People need to stop. I mean, it's people like Ian that have gone there since '67. It's very hard for them to stop. But
Brian, the thing is, it's not just that though. I don't go. No, I don't have my season ticket. Someone else is just going to buy it. It doesn't really change. It doesn't change anything. But I just can't. I can't do it anymore. I can't do it anymore. You know. And I apologise for not mentioning you as well.
Oh yeah, it's too late now, mate. Too late now.
You're in the mud.
My ego's taken a massive hit, mate. A massive hit. I don't know if I'll ever be the same again.
How dare you? How dare you? The man's coming all the way from Canada to come and see you, Nick. He said,
yeah, when I came back in November, he decided to go on holiday to Amsterdam.
Yeah, you've got.
So this is like twice now.
This is an agenda, son, Nick. This is an agenda, son.
It's all coming out now. We're air our dirty laundry in public.
Let's do it. I'm not fussed.
But
I mean, look, I'm even eating a biscuit because of this football club. I haven't had a biscuit in ages, and I'm eating a biscuit. This is what this club's doing to me.
But
it's going back. It's going back to when people keep saying once the storm comes through, once we get through this storm, we'll be right. Well, how long's this bloody storm?
What storm?
People keep saying, well, people keep saying when we get our players back, players come back and they get injured immediately.
yeah,
People, I said it after the Leicester game, people think when we say, oh, we've almost got all our players back, all of a sudden they're going to be in tip-top 100% form, ready and firing and all on the best foot. No, it's going to take them time. And we have to manage their minutes. God knows what's happening with Van der Ven. We are in, and like Savva said, and I can't speak for Ian because obviously Ian is a little while older than us, but this is the worst it has ever been for me.
Yeah.
As a Spurs fan, and I had a season ticket throughout the 90s.
yeah.
This is on a par with the relegation year of '77. I must tell you something. We have Perriman and Hoddle playing in that team, and we have Birkinshaw as manager. But the players generally just weren't good enough. But that was down to the players. This is down to the manager and the players. I mean, I'm just reading here, Brian. I'm just reading from Mamba. Gray, Bergvall and Kinski should be nowhere near the first team. They should be on loan or in the under-23s. I don't want to see any of them this weekend, but sadly we will. And who do you think's going to come in for them and do a better job? Have you thought about that? Our senior professionals have been disgraceful this season for 90% of this season. And you're singling out Gray, Bergvall and Kinski. When Vicario's back, when he's fit and he's match fit and he's ready to play, he will be back in. Gray and Bergvall, where the team would have been this season, unfortunately, without them, they should have been there just to dip in and out the team this season and gain experience in their positions in a decent team. And the same with Mikey Moore.
Ian, I'll tell you how bad this is. Graham, who is in the chat, who's a dear friend to us all, and he goes everywhere, every bloody where, and has hardly missed a game since the time you've been going, has actually said for the first time, Ian, I'm thinking of not going on Sunday. And this is a guy that does not
miss 8 games in his life. 8 games, probably 8-9 games he's missed.
It is like since he's been going. There's fans now, and do you know what? Like I said when you were on the coach, and I heard you mention it yesterday. There are people that shuffle their jobs and their life around this football club, travelling up and down the country to Europe to go support them, have to pay for petrol or train tickets, hotels, drink, food, everything, and they get this. And then the worst thing is, like you said, you got back at stupid o'clock this morning, Sunday morning, bright and early. Oh no, with a late kickoff for you, aren't we? With 5:35, so not bright and early, but you do it all again, and it's just this. They give you nothing. They give you nothing. Is it? I have been saying I go to the Scotland Yard now to see everyone. I go to Scotland Yard now to see all the Toronto Spurs. It's become a chore to watch us. I wake up normally on game day, years gone by. Yes, it's game day. I can't wait. Whether I'm going to the game, whether it's on TV, whether I'm going to the yard. Yes, it's Spurs Day. Let's just get through the day as quickly as possible. Now I'm like, oh, well, guess I best get. There's no excitement. There's no.
I must tell you, Brian, the guy next to me after 20 minutes said, "What do you think of it? We're still 0-0." I said, "It's a bloody tough watch." And, you know, I'm thinking, I was looking forward. I saw the 4 teams that we could be drawn against in Europe. Denmark, I've never been to Scandinavia. I'm looking forward to that. Sociedad, they've got great fans. It should be a good atmosphere. Galatasaray, likewise. Alkmaar, I've not been to. I'm thinking, do you know what? Brand new, you know, with my pal Brad, we travel around Europe. And I'm thinking to myself, do I really, you know, take 2 days out and spend God knows how much going on a trip like this? And you just look at it and think, well, you know, I'm going Sunday. There'll be 6,000 there again. I think behind the goal on Sunday at Villa, where I think we're behind the goal instead of alongside because of the allocation that we've got due to the FA Cup. They better come out and give some effort. I don't expect anything, even though Duran's gone and Watkins is injured. But they better come out and pull their finger out.
Is that definite, Ian? Is Watkins definitely out?
That's what I was told by 3 different people yesterday. That I haven't seen anything. That's what I was told, that he's injured. Now, hopefully he is. Can I see us getting anything Sunday? I can't. I didn't think so. I said on this show a couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks ago, that I thought we would lose. I thought we would beat Elfsborg or get through against Elfsborg. I thought we'd beat Leicester. But then lose to Brentford, Liverpool and Villa, and Ange would be sacked. I was shocked with the Brentford win, but last night, from a professional pride point of view and the lack of effort, not the fact that you lost, didn't expect us. I thought we'd lose 3-1 and we go down fighting. They better turn up on Sunday. They seriously better turn up on Sunday. I've got to tell you something, if they go out on Sunday with a performance like that, can you imagine what the atmosphere is going to be like at Spurs the following Sunday against Man United? It will be toxic.
It doesn't matter. Half our fan base don't give a shit. This is the problem. Just quickly, this is absolutely spot on, Alfie. There's nearly 1,000 people in here, not even 300 likes. That's the equivalent of what Spurs did yesterday against Liverpool. No guts, no performance. Dig deep.
Come on.
Get stuck in and smash that like button.
Let's have a Liverpool effort here with the likes. Come on, guys.
Absolutely. I'm going to get some super chats. What I will say, though, Ian, is... Actually, let me do the super chats. I'll come back to that. Thanks, Alf. David Blair has said, honestly, my kid's 7-a-side team has a better idea of tactics. I don't doubt it, David. I've never seen your under-7s play, but I'm guessing they do have better tactics. I think Ange is the worst football manager I've ever seen. Notice I didn't even just say Spurs, ever. I think he is awful. Vineet has said, the sad thing is I'm seeing is people giving Ange a pass by saying it's a Spurs thing. If one's honest, the current state is more than on Ange than Levy. Don't say it too loudly because Lubo will get really pissed off. But it is true. Yes, it's all on Ange. No, it's not all on Ange. But yes, thank you very much, Vinny.
Levy does get the lion's share. Of course, he's the owner. He's been... Why I'm now starting to lean more towards Levy than Ange is because Levy should have sacked him. Yes, the manager is. I mean, I said it earlier. This is the worst manager I've ever seen ever, and I've seen managers like Tony Mowbray, and Tony Mowbray was tactically.
I'll take him.
He would run rings round Ange. Ryan Mason's better. Stellini's even better.
Frank Lampard's on the TV. I'm going to Coventry and seeing if I can negotiate a deal. Even he's better.
Stellini played 4 at the back at Newcastle and lost 6-1. Stellini's in the same level as that.
Sure, but let's be brutally honest here. Stellini was manager for about 3 games. You know, Ange Postecoglou's had 4 transfer windows, multiple hours on the training pitch, multiple summers, you know, there's a huge difference. Big up, Dan. Who are the fans who said that we're in all comps? Do they really think that Ange wins the Europa League over Lazio, Bilbao, Roma, Porto and Man U? Lubo does, Vinny. Again, I'll pick on Lubo. He thinks we will. I don't think we've got a chance. And a user has said, update from the board. and situation under control. Yeah, unlike our football club. Look, welcome, Dan. Welcome to the show. I just want to go on from what Lubo said there, Dan. I'll come straight to you. The thing is, we've been saying this, Dan, for over a year. If he loses that one, he's in trouble. Or if he loses this, the fans will turn. If he loses that, it doesn't matter. We could get spanked 5-0 at Villa. These same apologists will be in my chat saying, oh, but it's not Ange, it's a Spurs thing. Dan, I've never seen us this shit. I hate Levy, but I've never, ever seen us this shit.
No, not with the players we've got as well. I've seen worse teams at Spurs, significantly worse, play significantly better.
Yeah.
And that is what makes it even worse. I mean, yeah, last night it's at Liverpool. It's at Anfield. You go there, you lose, fine. But we didn't just lose yesterday. We got our trousers pulled down and we got absolutely done yesterday, completely. And I don't even think they got out of second gear. The fact that this has been obvious for over a year, I get why people want to stick by him. I get why people don't want to go for another manager, whatever else. But can't people see it now? It's not working. It's not going to work. He can't seem to adapt to the players. The players can't play his way. He won't. And then it just comes to the point that we go and beat Brentford, and then that's when people start preaching. He can do it. See, it's changed. It's all changed just because we went and beat bloody Brentford. Yeah, and then we went and played Liverpool, and it showed how much it's changed, didn't it? He's got to go. He should have. For me, he should have been gone before start of the season, basically. But because of the first 10 games, we scrimped and scraped our way to 5th place, basically. But even during those first 10 games, I remember saying to you, like, all right, I get the style of football and that, but surely he ain't going to play like this all through the season. He's probably got a few tricks up his sleeve. No, you can't play that way over 38 games. And he has done over, I mean, what has he lost? Over 50% of his games now?
Yeah, but by the way, right, when I see comments like this, I feel like we've really got to get away from winning things right now. Like when we're talking about why Ange shouldn't be here, because Ange should be here because it doesn't matter who's manager. Hang on, at the moment we are so far away from being a top 4 team that challenge the big boys. We need a manager that can come in and actually just make us compact. What's the word I'm looking for? We need a manager that can just actually make us look like a football team.
You can't even string 3 passes together, let alone win a cup.
Right. So all of this saying current owners were not paid for top wages for top players, then how are Forest up there? Why are Bournemouth up there? Right? This whole notion that if you sack him, nothing changes and it doesn't matter because this is what Levy and Ninic do. This isn't true. This is the worst it's ever been. I don't understand why people can't see that. I'm just baffled, guys.
I want to be seen as this is what we've had this conversation many times, Savva. It's because people want to be seen as true fans or real Tottenham or true Tottenham. They don't want to be seen. They don't want integrity. They just want to be a real fan, whatever the hell a real fan is. They call people. They call people like me, people like Lubo, people that go every single week and watch this football team. They call us fake fans. We're not real fans. Real fans back their team, even if it's like an under-2s match. There's nothing to back. You can't back this. There's no evidence. How can you believe in something that's not there? It's like it's almost like believing in a religion. We don't know if there's an entity up there, but just believe. Be a real fan. You got to be real. You got to be a real.
What is backing your team, though, Ben? What is backing your team? Is backing your team, as far as I'm concerned, backing my team is I want Tottenham to win. Sure. I support Tottenham Hotspur. I don't support Levy. I don't support Ange. I don't support Basuma. I don't support Archie Gray. I don't support Bentancur. I support Tottenham Hotspur, and they play for Tottenham Hotspur.
Absolutely.
I want them to win. Like I've said, I want Ange to go unbeaten run for 20 games and then win us a treble. I want Timo Werner to score 30 goals. I want Richarlison to become the best striker in the world because he's at Spurs. If it ain't working, what do? Just sit back and just basically... It's like being out with your mate and you see your mate getting a good hiding. Oh, you're my mate. I'm going to back you up. Go on. I reckon you can do it, mate. Go on. No, come on. I'll back you up. No, what do? You go over and help them out. So what I'm saying is, you complain about it. You say something. You want better. You don't just sit back and take it on a plate, basically. You go on. You want better for your club. Why? Because you back and support your club. But a lot of people seem to think just supporting a club is just standing there cheering, basically. When it goes right, and then just saying it'll get better when it goes wrong. I thought if you support something, if you love something, you want better for it.
That's also a thing with real support, isn't it? You give them tough love when you need to give them tough love. You've got to give them tough love. You can't just say, "Oh, it's okay. You've done this. It went completely wrong, but it's okay." Sometimes you've got to sit them down and say, "Get your act together. Get your act together." You can't go to Anfield and be so wide open that they score 4. You can't do it. You've got to be real. At some point, you've got to show realism.
Dan, I have to show you very quick. I don't know if I sent it to you yesterday. After I did my bit on We Are Tottenham TV, do you want to hear the most classic of classic excuses for Levy as why we are where we are? This one, I mean, I've got I've got a repertoire, I've got an album, I've got a book, an encyclopedia of excuses, but this one I think takes the biscuit. So, the reason that this is happening is Levy said himself, the costs of running concerts, NFL games and Spurs games has blown out due to energy costs and staff salaries. So we are the greenest team. We've won the greenest club in the Premier League. But the reason that we are not able to buy quality players now is paying the stewards and putting the floodlights and electricity on.
Who said this, Brian?
Someone, you know, when you put comments in YouTube after the stream. Someone left a very, very long.
So brilliant,
Brian. I would question that. We were bringing in $1 million. No, hang on. I would question what they've written, because surely the revenue from a match day went from 1 million to 6 million. Surely, hang on. If we're losing money with 5 million more, then the overheads must be more than 5 million, which is absolute nonsense.
Exactly.
My pal went on a stadium tour. The pal I go to football, he went on a stadium tour, and the guy doing the tour told him that the NFL games bring in 5 times as much on the NFL, on the 2 NFL games, than for a Premier game. So if it's 6 million for a match for Premier League game, then it's 30 million times 2. So they're getting 60 million in for those 2 Sundays in October when they have the NFL.
This is what we're doing.
So what that person put on YouTube sounds to me like the biggest load of rubbish going. Seriously.
It's net zero is killing our...
It's absolute nonsense.
It is nonsense.
And
net zero is killing our club.
We've got to look at these things and we've got to think about these things. It is the biggest load of crap going. They are making fortunes compared to what they were previously. I'm sorry. Okay, the ground's gone from, instead of entertaining 36,000, you're entertaining 61 plus every game. Okay, so it's gone up 67, 68%.
42% of revenue is spent on wages on players, right? 42%.
And that's probably down to about 35% now, because that was up to June 2024.
Yeah.
And the wage bills dropped another 30 million since June 24, since the end of year figures.
So yeah, you would say about
whoever's putting this out, it's probably an Arsenal fan just out to have a laugh, Brian. I cannot believe. And if Levy has said that, then that is propaganda of the worst kind. Seriously.
Net zero is killing our
electric.
Net
What's he going to do?
What do you want, guys? This is the league. Do you want net zero or do you want trophies?
Levy would just go and put an electric windmill up there or something. That'd be the next thing.
Honestly, the shit. There's some of the comments in this one that I did yesterday, saying Brian, all he's done in the last few videos is be upset and negative. I'm like, recently. I'm like, okay, yeah, because it's Skittles and rainbows where everyone should be. It's mate, this honestly, it's.
Well, let's have a look at this then, Brian. This is brilliant, right? First of all, I'm going to call out a couple of people here, not YouTubers. This cracks me up. You are real fans, but this is a very negative channel. I mean, I'm really sorry. My team are sitting 14th in the league, getting battered more often than not, have no style of play. We've lost so many games in the last 2 years, it's unreal. What on earth do you want me to be positive about? I was told to be positive yesterday. I said we'd get to extra time and penalties. Look how that turned out, right? What
Happy
are we
clapper.
doing here?
And you're the problem, Savva. You bet we were going for penalties. Happy clapper.
Hang on.
Happy clapper.
But this is what makes me laugh, right? It's statements like this. Without injuries, we'd be in and around sixth. Not bad considering we're rebuilding the squad. Injuries and fatigue have buggered us. Steve Jones, have a day off, mate, right? What I don't understand about people like Steve Jones is that they just ignore all the evidence and facts from the last year and a half, right? The start to this season after 12 games with all our players fit was our worst start to a Premier League season for 20 years. So what evidence is there that we would be sixth? What evidence? We had the worst start for 20 years, Steve, right? Not bad considering we're rebuilding a squad. This throwaway line again. We're rebuilding a squad from what to what? Have a fucking day off. Injuries and fatigue have buggered us. Maybe, just maybe then, maybe you rotate the players when they are fit rather than running them all into the ground and picking up injuries. I'm sorry, Steve. This is just a lot. What this is for me is this is the delusion. I'm going to put my head in the sand and I'm going to ignore facts. Like Jamie Carragher said, this isn't just this season. This has been ever since that Chelsea game. Spurs have been crap, but we've still got fans going, but this manager is shit. Injuries and fatigue. Bournemouth have injuries and fatigue and have lost one Premier League game in 12 or 13, right? They've got a small squad, not geared for 10 injuries. Same as us. We haven't got it geared for injuries, but we knew we were in Europe. Ange said he didn't want to bring in more players. Come on, man. Like, we've got to stop doing this. We've got to stop these.
Can I come off the back of that, Sav? Can I come off the back?
I've got to jump quickly in. I'm going to jump.
Yeah, Ben and Nick need to go. See you later, guys.
See you later.
Those two. No passion, no energy. Gutless.
So can I just say to Steve that I made a mistake pre-season of thinking that we were going to be between 5th and 8th. Take out the last 10 games. Take out the first 10 games last season, we would have finished 12th. So we're now in Europe. So we're playing maybe nearly up to 50% more games, with one player bought to strengthen the first team, and players who played some sort of role, like Højbjerg, like Lo Celso, like Skip last season, Emerson, who played a few bits, and they played cameo parts. Same manager, same tactics. So why? 28 games is a fair metric to judge a situation. So coming into it, if we finish 12th then, and we've got less players to pick from, more matches, so more injuries, the same system, nothing's really improved. Solanke is an upgrade on Richie, but not a massive upgrade. Why are we going to finish 6th with the same squad of players, basically? We were 12th. If the league started at the end of October last year, we'd have finished 12th. If we'd have finished 12th, would you have been saying Solanke in, several pros sold, we're going to finish 6th? Of course you wouldn't have done. And you've got Europe as well. So, everything, as I said, everything's bad. The transfer market in the summer was geared to bringing down wages because Levy wanted to sell a stake to refinance, because they've got to get money in to build the hotel, to build Whitewebb's Park for the golf club that they bought near the training ground, which is going to house NFL training, which is going to also house the ladies football team, the pitch. So nothing's geared towards the first team. This isn't a football club anymore. So we're not going to go down this year. Well, I'm sure we'll probably get some sort of result against United and Ipswich, and you would think with 4 or 6 points, then hopefully they will be well clear. Yeah. But if not this year, if not this season, next season or the season after, this reminds me of 75. We got out of relegation on the last game against Leeds in 75. 76 was a bit of a nothing year, and we finished 11th or 12th, and we went down the following year. If you've got someone said, who would you bring in? I saw on the thing. Levy spent 10 million on Kinski, and if that's amortized, that's maybe over 2 years, anything up to 5 years, so it's 2 million a year. Do you think he's going to pay 12 million to pay Ange out? And then if we've got to bring a manager in, from another club, he's going to pay compensation there. Dream on. Seriously, this is why there's no chance we were ever going to finish 5th or 6th this season.
The thing I said to everyone last,
we finished 5th or 6th with a better manager. This is the difference. It's what I said. If you've got a manager that can coach, we would finish. I think we finished 5th or 6th, even possibly top 4 that Forest are in, with a proper football manager.
Yeah,
but the manager hadn't changed, had he, Sav? So you've got the same manager. And we're making
I agree. We agree on that.
We're making predictions for the team based on the same manager, virtually same players, same system, same tactics.
Ian, we completely agree. But I think when people are saying we need a whole new squad, I don't believe it. I don't believe that Bournemouth haven't got a whole new squad from when Iriola picked them up. But look at the fantastic job he's done there, right? Do you know what I mean? It can't just be every player at this football club is crap. The manager is crap. There's players that need to go. But all of these people, Dan, I'll come to you here. All of these people that are saying this in the summer, no one was predicting 14th.
No,
right?
I said 8.
Players, do you remember? I remember, Dan. We had loads of shows. We were doing shows where I was like, God, I'd love Villa's midfield, right? I'd love Chelsea's midfield. Oh, what? You'd rather Enzo Fernandez and Caicedo over ours? Yeah. No, you're not real Spurs. You'd like John McGinn and Kamara and Onana and Tielemans over ours? Yeah, you're not real Spurs. Now, all of a sudden, we get to February and it's, but the midfielders, they're all shit. Hang on.
Yep.
No one was saying this in the summer. No one in the summer was saying all our midfielders were shit. They were predicting 3rd and 4th and title challenges. Now, all of a sudden, that they've been wrong, it's, but can you blame Ange? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I can blame Ange. Sorry, Dan. Away you go. I'm so
It's true. No, man. It's true. It's true. It's true. Now, all of a sudden, it's blatantly showing how poor Ange is. Oh, it's not Ange's fault. It's anything and everything else. The players are now just all shit now. Yeah, right. He got us 5th place. It was those 10 games that covered us last season, and also the fact on how poor some of the other bigger teams were as well. Yeah, Man U was still poor, but a few others got their act together. I said at the very start of this season to everybody, we are going to see this season, mark my words, how much those 10 games, first 10 games, saved his ass last season. Lo and behold, look at what has happened, basically. Those first 10 games was like, to us, it was like Arteta's FA Cup for Arsenal. It was what basically kept him his place for a bit, gave him the time. The fact that we won those first 10 games and ended up getting 5th is why he still got extra time. Look at where we are now. Even at times last season when we had the full squad, we were still losing games we should not be losing. And then we go and win a good game out of nowhere. But then we had more clean sheets when we had, who was it in the middle? Royale and who was next to him? Was it Davis?
Yeah.
Yes, Royale and Davis.
We actually had more clean sheets over 20 odd games, over 10 games with them two, than we did with Van der Ven and Romero in the middle.
But this is why these sort of comments aren't true. We're reinventing history, Dan. We did this the other night. Do you remember in the group, in that WhatsApp group, Dan, where somebody came on and said, "Oh, Spurs have only lost, what was it, 3 games when Van der Ven and Romero have played together or something." And we went back and went, "Well, that ain't bloody true." And we found loads. Van der Ven, Romero, Vic, they were all part of the worst start we've had for 20 years. Van der Ven, Romero, and Vic are all part of this team that last year couldn't win games in the second half of the season. Like I feel like we
started losing our games last season when we had the full squad. That is when the games actually started going downhill.
Hang on. Second half of the season, when the players came back, we got 20 points from 10 games, but we were playing the lower level teams. The last 9 games we were playing City, Newcastle, Arsenal, Liverpool. We got 10 points from the last 9 games.
You look at them first 10 games, Ian, we didn't have a full team. We didn't have a full team once.
Steve Jones,
when we had his full team, we started losing all the games.
Romero and Van der Ven from Chelsea onwards only played together 9 games out of 28 or 27. But as far as Steve Jones' comment just now, if we'd have had 10 extra points, hang on, Sav, if we'd had 10 extra points from today with Romero and the centre backs in, Vicario and the centre backs in, we'd still be 10th. We'd be 10th, level with Brighton on 34 points. That shows you how far we've dropped. We're just nowhere near competitive.
We'd be 8th. We'd be 8th level with Villa on 38 points.
No, 34. 37. Sorry, beg your pardon. Sorry, it's 37, isn't it? We're 37, so I forgot Brentford.
But either way, it's, again, I know you guys hate me using this word, but it's the revisionism. Sorry. It's the revisionism that when Van der Ven and Romero played, everything was okay. Well, let me ask you this. Let me ask all of you in this, right? This year, when we beat Aston Villa, did Romero and Van der Ven play together at the back?
Oh, I'll tell you.
No, I know the answer. The answer's no, right? No, they didn't, right? When we beat Man City twice, did Romero and Van der Ven play in those games?
No, you're right. They didn't.
No, they didn't. Right? When we beat Liverpool 1-0 in the cup, did they play in that game? No. When we beat Brentford, did they play in that game? Nope. Did they both play against Arsenal when we lost early in the season? Did they both play against Newcastle early in the season when we lost? Yeah. Did they both play against Crystal Palace? Yeah. This revisionism that if they're there,
Newcastle Dragoson played.
Okay,
away.
Dragoson played. Okay, cool. But the point is, there's this revisionism that when Van der Ven and Romero play, that we are much better. And the facts don't show that. The stats, the data, the facts, whatever word you want to call it, guys, it doesn't show that as evidence or truth. Now, am I saying that the centre-backs we've got are better? Now, no. But the difference is, as I said before, if Van der Ven and Romero play last night, what changes? What changes if they play last night? They are wide open. They are exposed. Look at Brighton. Look at Brighton's second half. Van der Ven and Romero played in that game. We collapsed. We conceded 3 because it is, what's the word I'm looking for, Dan? It's the tactics. It's the tactics. It's the tactics.
Savva, how long have I said this to everyone? Everybody sit here now and think of your best back 4 and goalkeeper you could ever put together that is practically indestructible. I guarantee, I'll bet a lot of money on it. You go play them tactics with them back 4 and that goalkeeper, they still concede more than 30, 35, 40 goals a season.
Mickey has played 10 games this season, if you include the Chelsea game he got injured. Van der Ven. He's won 4, drawn 1, and lost 5 out of 10.
There's no evidence, Ian. These people are putting it out there as though, what I would expect if these people were right, Ian, is when you roll out, Mickey's played 10 games, I would expect you to say, we've won 8, drawn 1, lost 1. But it's not true. We lose with these guys as well because the tactics don't work. Danny said this from day one, right? Danny said this from day one. Even when we were in that 10-game run, he said, if you put Maldini out there, if you put Baresi out there, you can have Lionel Messi at right wing. You can have Pirlo in midfield. I'm sure they weren't the exact 4 he named, but you get my drift. It doesn't matter. Any football team that is wide open is going to concede goals. And there you go. Look, the win rate with Romero and Van der Ven is 44. Without is 42. It's minuscule. It's less than 1 win's difference. It's nothing. Just don't.
I mean,
get
fine.
out
Put the best defenders out there. There'd be a couple of games that we won't make a stupid mistake in this and that. I get that. There'd be more points. But what I'm saying is basically, he will never ever win a league with the best defense and goalkeepers out there because he will concede too many to win a league. Yet you can get a cup. A cup is a cup. It's over 6 games. A league is over 38 games. He would never ever win a league in a big league, not the bloody Scottish Premier League, not the Australian League and whatever else. You go and put him in a big league with the best defence, play these tactics. He still won't win it because we concede too many goals.
What I don't understand for all the for the Ange lovers, for people who are just fed up with a revolving managerial door. I understand that, but you can't keep somebody in a job who's totally wrong for it. Unfortunately, you say 16 out, okay, it's got to be 17. We've got to try again. We've got to try and find that manager who is going to bring us back to where we were with Poch and go a step further. But what I don't understand is that if you're saying, when Conte came in or Mourinho came in, you're looking at guys that have won at the very top level. And you're thinking, do you know what? Regardless of the tactics, these guys, mentality-wise, are winners.
They know what they're doing.
They have found a way to get their teams over the line. And Conte, with Chelsea and Juventus, when they won the league, scored over 90 goals both times. So the reason why Conte was pragmatic was because apart from Romero, he didn't have anybody else in terms of intelligence-wise or with pace who could play could play differently to a pragmatic low block. What with Ange has he done? He's won in Japan, Australia, and Scotland. We're not talking about Premier League, France, Italy, Spain, Germany, Holland, or Portugal, or even Turkey for that matter. We're talking about 3 very, very average leagues when you're comparing them to the leagues I've just mentioned. So I don't understand why people are just going berserk over this manager who's won the league. Full marks to him. He's won, so he's a winner. But he's a winner up to a certain level, and people have got to realise that is his level. He's jumped up several levels here, and as I said before, he's like a kid who can't swim, floundering in water. You're waiting for somebody to pull you out and save you, and Levy needs to do that very quickly because Ange is drowning and he's taking us with him.
You know what it is, and again, this is all of us on YouTube and all of us in the chat. It is just the same conversation, just a different game. Just a different game. It's just like, okay, we've lost to Liverpool. Let's talk about how clueless Ange is. Let's talk about how bad Levy is. Let's talk about how bad the players are. Let's talk about how bad the substitution is. Let's say where's the fight, where's the ideas. We'll go to Liverpool, Villa. And we'll all be at it again Monday. Levy's the problem. Ange's clueless. We're now out of a second cup. And then we'll do it again after Manchester United. It's just the same thing week in, week out. And this club show no desire to change anything about it. It just doesn't matter. Savva will speak and he goes deep into tactics and we'll call things out and see things. And Savva and I have had differences of opinions on performances or players. But this club do nothing. And like Savva said when he brought up the Jamie Carragher, Ian Wright last week, who is an Arsenal legend. Mm-hmm. And don't get me wrong, I love Ian Wright, the person. I loved Ian Wright, the striker, just not when he was in an Arsenal shirt. But these players see it. The ex-players see it. The ex-managers see it. Everyone is seeing it. Everyone is whenever you see Sky Sports now and you hear Spurs speaking about, still speaking about like Pochettino with the greatest defence for 2 years or the goals and how do you stop Archie Gray? How do you stop Harry Kane, Christian Eriksen, Sonny, Dele? It's now this is how you beat Spurs.
There's no how.
This is the build up to these games now. Are like, well, this is going to happen. I can see Spurs doing this because it's what they always do, and these teams will do this. We have become. I can't remember the biggest hurrah on a positive side for Spurs was we managed to convince a player that didn't want to come. And that's now deemed success at Tottenham Hotspur.
Yeah.
You didn't want to come.
But he got on the phone, Brian. Oh, but Ange is my manager because only my manager could get on the phone and convince a 19-year-old kid who's not getting game time to come and play on us on loan.
Or was it down to the fact?
I did give him credit. Do you know what? I put a tweet out and I did give him credit for that because I'm like, if I'm going to criticise and be very critical, at least I could. I mean, I look at it there. Where the hell was his wonderful pep talk at half time? He was meant to be this one that gives motivational speeches.
Brian, hang on a sec. Are you saying like give Ange credit for getting Tell over it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why? Oh, come on, be real. You know what that... Hang on, mate. You know what that was over, surely. He blatantly wanted to go Man U. He blatantly
I don't dispute that. I don't dispute that.
That was nothing to do with Ange. That was Daniel Levy that got that done by saying...
Come on. Ange went out there. Levy went out there. Lange went out there. Couldn't get the job done. The job was done. Maddison came out and said it. Bergfell's... You have to listen. I will throw as much hate, but if you can't say, do you know what? If Ange has done that, fair play to him. If you can't give glimmers,
I don't believe he did.
Well, then that's down to you, buddy. That's how you want to look.
Munich owed us a deal, and Daniel Levy took it. That's what I reckon.
Well, hang on. Can I ask about that though, Brian? Brian, isn't it funny how we want to praise because he managed to get a 19-year-old kid who's not getting any game time at Tottenham? Where was Ange's phone call to Tamori, to Mawani?
Wait, that you're right. Right on that, you're right. What does that part? You're right. I'm saying that Levy and Ange went to get the job done, and they couldn't. Ange did, and I'd rather have a player here than not have the player here. Does that cloud my judge? Go on.
Sure, but do we know the ins and outs of that? Like the fact is,
I'm going off what's been come out. I can only go on what's come out.
No, I agree with you, but we heard all this before, didn't we? This whole Ange calls people and then they turn around and come. Look at the James Maddison thing. Ange got on the phone to me and I knew it was the club I wanted to join. Everyone going, oh my God, Ange. And even me at the time, I made a video going, oh, I want to breath of fresh air. And Ange came. Yeah, the same player that now Ange throws under the bus for every single time Spurs lose a game. James Maddison's fault. It's all well and good getting on the phone and giving a passionate speech. But then when they're here, what do you do with them? Right? And this is the difference.
I completely agree.
Our fans... I agree with your sentiment, Brian. If we're going back to the beginning, I agree with your sentiment that it's this is where we're at. We're now so shit that we are praising because our manager made a phone call to a kid to get him on loan. Like, what are we? No, I know. I'm agreeing with you on that.
Yeah, no,
what are we? But there's people going, my manager, your manager couldn't do. What are we talking about? Right? What are we talking about? The likes of Jose and Conte, they don't need to get on the phone and convince. They don't need to. It's what you want to go and play. Okay, cool. Right? I don't know I don't know where we're at as a fan base. I don't know what this means. So Ange, did he call Tamori? And Tamori said, no, you're all right. And we're not hearing about that because it's negative. But because he managed to call a kid and get him here, it's positive. I don't understand. I don't get it.
The truth of the matter with Maddison is that his wife didn't want to go to Newcastle.
Yep.
Fine. But you get my point. Ian, it doesn't, all of that's fine. But all of this, the deal was going south until Ange got on the phone.
If you're bringing in a 19-year-old kid with potential, you might as well keep Lancashire. There's no point. I don't see the point of sending Lancashire out to West Brom and bringing this kid in. Hard to judge yesterday. Very difficult to judge based on an hour at Anfield. Very hard. But he didn't look like a Liam Delap to me. Just using an analogy of 19-year-olds. Maybe he'll come in maybe he'll score 10 or 12 goals in the next 3 months. I really hope he does. But
But
there are so many questionable decisions. Going back, just touching on transfers, why are we buying the keeper when you've got Austin? What for? I just don't get it.
I agree.
I don't get it. There's no point. Dan Soap yesterday looked decent. To throw him into that first game, he looked okay. You know,
how did you expect him to come out, wasn't it? Really?
Sorry, Dan.
How did you expect him to come out, wasn't it? I thought he'd done okay.
Yeah, I thought he did okay. For me, him and Spence played well. The rest of them didn't have their best games.
Until actually looked like he had some passion when he came on. Not that he actually could do anything, but
he was making runs. He was asking for the ball.
He was the one telling the fans, "Come on!" While Son's walking about, dragging his knuckles on the bloody floor. He's meant to be our captain.
Yeah.
Listen, I by the way, I agree. I'm not disagreeing with Brian's original point. For me as a football fan, I don't want to give credit because my manager's got on a phone to convince a kid to come. If you get on the phone and if he had got on the phone and convinced Tomori, an England international who's won Serie A titles for AC Milan, I'm all for it. But we don't. Did he convince Kolo Muani? No. Did he? No, and I'm not blaming Ange because I don't think those players would want to come to Tottenham at the moment.
Exactly.
But it's deflecting again from how bad a job he's doing that we keep praising him for all these other things that have nothing to do with how bad he is as a football manager.
This is how bad it's gotten. Do you know what? And people, when we get to the summer, and let's face it, we are going to finish bottom half this season.
Sure.
Who's going to then go, yeah, do you know what, Tottenham, sell me this project, as you probably go on to your 9th manager, including Mason twice in the game-changing stadium. I believe whatever you're going to say because you believe in everything you stick. Mate, no matter where you look at it, you can't sell. The only sell now to Tottenham Hotspur is you can come and stay. You can go. You have the wonderful stadium. You've got the training ground, and guess what? When you stay at the lodge, we'll get the same bedding for you, so you have the same bed as you have at home, so you feel so comfortable when you stay at the lodge. There is no selling point to this football club anymore. European football, forget it. There's just nothing to sell. There is nothing.
The only other thing you can say is London, and then just tell them to watch out for the mopeds. But apart from that.
Dan, if you're a pro footballer, the sort of players we should be bringing in are all financially independent. So for them, it's not so much about the money; it's about medals. Look how many players have left Tottenham to go on and get winners' medals. And
I think it's got to be about 90% in it. I'd say it's a very large amount that everybody who leaves seems to win something. Even down to Emerson Royale and then Domba.
That's right. The Emma Goat won with AC Milan the other week.
Well, so, Harry Kane hasn't yet.
What is the attraction? Seriously, what is the attraction?
There's nothing. Oh, you might be able to sit in your box for the NFL and upcoming concerts, and you may be able to go on the Skywalk for promotional reasons and go karting.
The whole thing at Tottenham, Brian, is all geared to getting an NFL franchise in 2030.
Mate, there's no doubt.
The only pulling power we've got now, here and now where we are, we don't even use it, and that is money. That is the only pulling power we could actually use now, is if we went and offered someone 50% extra wages, basically, like serious amount extra. That is the only sort of pulling power we got, and we don't use it, so you can basically say we haven't got any. We have got nothing now.
Like all those fans that said, "Don't worry, when these PSR rules going to kick in, Tottenham will come into their own." And,
no, sorry, you missed a bit. It was like we have to be in line with FFP, and then we'll make a huge. Then we'll strike and show this financial heavyweight that we've become. Then PSR came in, and we had to be aligned with that. Now we're aligned with that. We don't do. Oh no! In accordance to being in line with it, we've slashed the wage bill. We've slashed the wage bill, and then Daniel's probably preparing for the next 4 financial stipulations that are coming in and say, "Oh, we have to be ahead of these," even though we'll be ahead of them immediately.
I had this thrown at me on the coach yesterday about this FFP and running the club, etc., financially.
This was a lively coach, Ian. This was a lively coach.
It was. Ask Johnny when he's back from his holiday. He'll tell you. because he got stuck in as well. And I actually said, what's the difference between where is Levy different to the other chairman? The way he is different is the other chairman will duck and dive, and they will work within the bounds of FFP, but they will stretch themselves within the bounds. And that's what the other 19 chairmen are different. Everything's relative. The amount of money they have is relative. But if Bournemouth's pot is say 10% of what ours is, just using a figure, it may not be. It might be 20, might be 30. Don't hold me. Just saying, if Bournemouth's pot is 10%, they will use all 100% of that 10%.
Yeah,
90% of that 100%.
Like Villa.
Yeah, correct. We won't. Our wages this year for this financial year ending June 25th or April 25, I think is probably around 35% wages to revenue ratio.
But can I give some positives? I want to give a positive, right? We are going to end the show in a few minutes.
Ealing won't be owners in 50 years. There's a positive.
I want to give this positive, all right?
Simple. We've got our Tottenham back. I just feel that we're seeing football that we used to see, and that's all we want. We want the players to give everything to play that attacking style of football. And we want the fans to have the connection with the players and the staff to have the connection with the players, and you feel it throughout the club.
We've got our Tottenham back, and the one line that stood with me with all of that was, we want our players to give everything. And after last night, I mean, just you can't write it. And the thing is, there are people sitting in that audience going, "Woohoo, we've got our Tottenham back." Tell me what this means. What?
I've got to go do a full day's work now, and you have left me listening to that prick.
Simple. We've got our Tottenham back.
That guy.
Honestly, do you know what? I swear, I keep saying it. Every time that man's lips move, he is lying.
I'll tell you something that will make you feel happier then.
That's better.
That doesn't make you smile. Nothing will, Brian Daigle.
That's much better. That's much better. Now I can go to work happy.
Listen, we are going to end the show in a minute. I will get some super chats in. Just quickly, in breaking news in football, Iriola has won Manager of the Month with Bournemouth with 10 first-team injuries. It's impossible to do anything with injuries apart from win most of your games, fly up the league, and win Manager of the Month. And Man City have announced in the last 2 minutes that they are registering Rodri in the Champions League squad. So he clearly can't be out for the entire season. Just thought I'd put that out there. Just quickly, Vinny, thank you very much. I said Ange fits perfectly in the world of politics. He has no empathy. And Vinny, do you know what? I completely agree with you. I think one of my biggest bugbears is I find this guy very unlikable as a manager. I watch the likes of Frank in his interviews, Thomas Frank. I watch Eddie Howe in his interviews. Slot in his interviews, and I just feel like, that man talking makes me think, right. I see Eddie Howe gave a really heartfelt interview the other day when they said about, look, you've had to sell Lloyd Kelly to Juventus, and he was like, I didn't want to. He said, I did not want to. Unfortunately, the club had to for PSR reasons. We wanted to keep him. But you know what? We're going to dig in. We're going to fight. This is what we do together. We've got a big game against Arsenal. We've got to be ready for that. And I just sat there and went, yes, that's all you've got to say. There doesn't need to be 15,000 words in a press conference. Big up to you, Vinny. Gwyn Evans, just with a super sticker. Thank you very much, Gwyn. That's really, really appreciated. A user has come in again and said, the issue we have, Ange does not rotate, period. And this is a great talking point. I'm going to ask the boys about this in a minute before we do end the show. I'll come back to that. John Stokes has said, a debacle of mediocrity. Sounds like the name of an autobiography, doesn't it? That would be a great autobiography for Ange Postecoglou. a debacle of mediocrity. Love that. I'm going to steal that, John. Thank you very much. I'm stealing that and using that as my own. Thank you very much. Phil P. Big up, Phil, the leader of the Phil Army, the man I'm blaming for all of the troubles at Tottenham, has said, I'm lower than a snake's belly. Rinse, repeat, R.I.P. Much love to you, Phil, and we must meet Fernando soon. We always talk about it. We must meet Fernando soon. A user's come back in and said, you're the one who took our Tottenham away. Yeah, he is. Daniel Levy. We've got our Tottenham back. Fans lapped it up. They live. Oh my God, he's brilliant. Anyone who likes Levy, anyone who likes Enoch, and anyone that likes Ange, I'm sorry, you're part of the problem at the football club. Another failed upload has become a YouTube member. Big up to you. And thank you so much. We will have the first member show of the year next week. And I want to quickly talk about this for 5 minutes, and I do really want to go. I've got that feeling in my belly. You know, when when even though I'm not going to waste away, I feel like I'm wasting away, that feeling. This is so true, right? All I see from the Ange fans is, he can't rotate. What can he do with the players out? And he's like, guys, I'm sorry. Am I the only one in saying this? When everyone was fit, did anyone ever see the manager rotate? Ever?
No, not really. There's been many a time when he could have brought younger players, when we was 3-0 up, 2-0 up with 5 minutes to go, when we was doing Man U. There's been many a times where we've been in a good position. He can see the players have run down because of how we play, the tactics we use, and he could have done chopping and changing, whatever, and he don't, and he's let them play. He's burnt them out, basically. There's been many a times he could have done it. Spence should have come on so many times and started in other games. Spence and Gray wouldn't even be playing.
Not at all. The team that if Ange had his way, the team for every match would be Vicario, Porro, Mickey, Romero, Udogi.
Yeah.
Then you would have 2 out of Basuma, Bentancur and Sarr. You would have 1 out of Kulu and Madison, and you'd have a front 3 of Solanke, Son and Johnson. And that's it. Your 11 would be picked from those 13 every single match.
Every game.
That's it. That's it. I mean, there's anybody here who can argue, who would want to argue on that point. The facts are there. Dragusin waited ages and ages. You had Dragusin, you had the shambles that's in midfield with Gray and Bergvall waiting to come in. Up front, I mean, we haven't got much. Unfortunately, Odegaard got injured. I think he may well have figured he may well have been the 14th player. I'm looking forward to seeing him back because he is direct and he runs at players and he's quick. And the only other player that does that but has no end product is Werner, who's a waste of time. So, but that's it. That's it. And he's had to bring in Spence, Dragusin, Gray, Bergvall, Mikey Moore, Lancashire for one game. But not that many more. Not that many more.
Completely agree. Guys, is there anyone that would like to say anything else before we do end the show?
What is there to say, really? Same Spurs, different day, different game, different season.
Someone said to me, "You're going on Sunday?" I said yes, and they looked at me and went, "Why?"
Yeah. Self-abuse.
By the way, on Sunday, people, on Sunday there won't be a Spurs review purely because of the time of the Spurs game. What we'll do is I'll do the Spurs watch along, and then what I'll do is I'll just invite my guests to join that show. There's no point me setting a completely different stream. I'll just leave that one running and invite my guests on, by the way. I will be back tomorrow. I'll do some sort of, Saturday? Is there anything going on tomorrow? Not Tottenham, but anything going on in the world of football? Yes.
Keeley and Donnelly against Man City in the FA Cup. Looking forward to that.
I'll do an FA Cup live score show for the 3 o'clock, and then possibly do I do a watch along for Leighton Orient Man City?
12:15 kickoff. Looking forward to that.
Are you going?
No, I wanted to take my son, and I could only get one ticket because I'm a member at Orient. So I thought, blow it, I'll watch it at home with him.
Mark, I meant in the day. I might be able to make this in the evening. I meant in the day. Listen, guys, it's been a pleasure. It's Spurs. We'll see. I've been waiting for that yellow news bar to say breaking news on Sky Sports for over a year now. And I just cannot believe it's not coming. Thank you very much to everyone in the chat. By the way, our users come back in. Really appreciate that and said, yes, I do. Effing Levy, Enoch, Lang, Munn, Ange.
We got off the coach. We got off the coach for our stop on the way home. It must have been about, I don't know, 10 past 1, I think it was. And Johnny said to me, "Can't believe he's still in a job." And I think we all feel the same way.
Mate, you really did go on a Johnny Boys outing last night, didn't you?
Where it was like there was like 50 on the coach.
I imagine Lubo as Rodney and Johnny as Del Boy. Last thing, in a word, has anyone got any hope of beating Aston Villa on Sunday? It's the same squad as today, by the way, without Richie. And just confirmed no one else is back fit. It's the same squad as yesterday. Away at Aston Villa. I know we've had good results against them lately, but we look a mess. Anyone think we're going to get through?
No.
Anything's possible. It's football, and that's about the only thing I could say on the hope side. But on a realistic side, give me a reason in that aspect of why to have any hope.
There's no evidence to suggest that we're going to pick it up and all of a sudden spin from yesterday 180 degrees into a win at Villa Park. Can't see it.
The only hope I've got is that if it needs us to lose that game that basically takes us out of everything, for him to get the sack, then just do what you got to do, and let's just hope the sooner the better he's gone.
I'd play a different team though. I'd have Spence and Reggie on as fullbacks with Davis and Danso. I'd play Gray, Bergvall and Kulu in midfield. And up front, well, you're struggling, aren't you, really? I mean, there isn't much of a choice. You've got Tell.
There is no midfield.
Sorry?
Even when there's 3 midfielders out there is no midfield.
But that's why I changed it.
He's not going to play Graham Bergvall together. I think the problem you've got now, and this is where I feel so sorry for Graham Bergvall, if those two played against McGinn, Kamara, Tielemans and Onana, they get eaten alive. They get eaten alive. These two should have been getting games in midfield together against lesser teams.
Yeah.
I think it's really difficult to go to Villa Park and go, I mean, this is the thing. Villa are strong. They are a strong, powerful team, Aston Villa. Not the greatest team, but they're powerful.
Similar to Newcastle.
Yeah.
In midfield,
yeah,
similar to Newcastle.
They've got men all over the. How many lightweight players do Aston Villa have in their team? Anyone?
That's right. But who's gonna get involved in a fight with Onana from Basuma, Bentancur and Sarr?
Mate,
None of them.
I agree. But neither is Bergvall or Gray, and this is the problem. This is the problem. We should be at this stage of the season. We should have seen Gray, for example. We're not going to do a whole Gray talk, but Gray, right, the first half of the season, we should have seen sporadically used in centre mid, game time, learning that position. When we say learning, he's still a young player. He's got to learn that position. We haven't once to suddenly go him, Bergvall and Kulu centre mid against Aston Villa. I think we lose 5-0. I feel there's nothing there in terms of none of them are. I don't know. There's no.
Well, if you play Basuma, Sarr, and Bentancur after their performance yesterday, what do you expect? What do we think they're going to do against Villa?
Well, it's got to be a mix and match, hasn't it? It's got to be a mix and match. You're going to need one. You're going to need, I think, Basuma, because he has got power. You're going to need somebody that can at least mix it up a little bit. Bentancur for me is the most, I've said this for years, the most overrated footballer at Tottenham. This guy, I'm constantly hearing how great he is and how he settles down our midfield. Every half decent game we play, half big team we play, like last night, this guy shows again, he ain't it. But look, I'm going to end the show. I'm going to end the show there. I'll tell you what, Ian, tomorrow I will do a watch along for Leyton Orient versus Man City. You're more than welcome to join me. And can you imagine? It'll be Donnelly and Keeley in my ear, and Dylan Markanday, just all day in my ear. Guys, girls, tonight I will be live at 7:30 or 7:45 for on Big Up for the FA Cup tie between Man United and Leicester City. That should be a good game. Ruud van Nistelrooy going back to Old Trafford. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Lubo. Thank you, Danny. Please subscribe to Tottenham on Tour. Please subscribe to the Hotspur Hood. And if you haven't subscribed to me, please do. And much love, everyone. Thank you very much. And as always, Enoch out, Levy out, Ange definitely out. But come on, you Spurs.
You Spurs.